not just a case. You're not just a client. You're a person, and you deserve support. You deserve simplicity. You deserve communication. When you hire an attorney, you deserve clear, risk-free advice that guides you to the best possible outcome in your injury case. And that's exactly what the advocates have been providing for over 30 years. After your accident, you deserve closure. You deserve compassion. You deserve peace of mind. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show, live on Thursday, April 23rd. Already my voice is effed. 2026 on The Monty Show. We are presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. 24/7, 365 at theadvocates.com. And a lot of people always ask me what I mean by clear, risk-free advice. When you've been in an accident and you don't know what to do, you call the advocates. They walk you through it step by step. Hey, what happened? How did it happen? Got hurt at work. My neighbor's dog. I was in an Uber. He ran a red light. All of it. You tell them, they go to work for you. And the best part is you never reach into your pocket. So you get that clear advice, and it's risk-free because you don't pay the advocates unless and until they win your case. So you get all the empathy. You get all the understanding. You get the dogged tenacity that is required to take on the insurance industry. That's what you get at theadvocates.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on The Monty Show. And legit, 24/7, 365, you could chat with an injury attorney live online. And it won't cost you a dime at theadvocates.com. NFL draft is tonight. Huge Mike Vrabel, Vrabel-Russini update. Are we burned out? Jake, are you burned out on the Mike Vrabel, Vrabel-Russini story yet?
Nope, I'm here for it, dude. I think they made a bed and it's time to live in it. It's time to lay in it, dude.
Well, they did that. That's how they
got
in trouble.
And I should preface that by saying they unmade the bed, and now it's time to lay back in the bed for yet another time. So yeah.
It seems like you're a huge fan of this story of infidelity and moral turpitude.
Yeah, because it's both like what all of us dudes resonate with, but at the same time, it's also the destruction of humanity.
What do you mean all of us dudes resonate with?
Yeah, like all of us, like we've talked about this multiple times. Like this is like Mike's being celebrated, and Mike is being, he didn't lose his job, but she did, and it's just this whole thing. It's just this whole reality TV show kind of thing. So,
okay. Okay. Listen, I think it'll be very interesting. I wonder how many really crappy out of focus pictures still remain. Because I love these pictures that came out, what was it, yesterday or something? You can't barely even make out who it is. But I mean, obviously it's Big Nose Kate. I think we all know that.
Well, I just thought it was funny that there's like roses and stuff in the foreground, and she's like chilling like on a patio through the window in the background. Like it wasn't even to say that there was intent behind the photos, I think is putting it lightly, dude. I do think that bro did a good job of learning their schedule and taking advantage of the opportunity, but I also think there was some intent behind the photos.
And welcome to the nightmares. Like, oh yeah, we're here for it.
Yeah, dude. Like, I don't know how you're not here for it, dude. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Yeah, absolutely, dude.
That is so strange to me. I mean, it's a fascinating story. I guess on some level, I automatically go to Vrabel's wife because it doesn't seem like the Russini household is marital bliss and this is some shocking turn of events. That doesn't feel like the Russini marriage.
What?
The Vrabel marriage, I think he's got young boys. He's the head coach of the Patriots. He's a Patriot legend. He's smashing with a hot reporter. Like, do you know the beating his kids are taking at school over this? Can you imagine Can you imagine being Mike Vrabel's young sons at school today? Well, yeah, Big Nose Kate and your dad hooking up. Like, that's all he is getting. That's it. That's his kids are getting pounded by it. His wife, I am certain, in her rich women's circle of really expensive coffee drinks with all kinds of sugar inducing syrups in them. I'm sure that they're sitting around and she's crying into her caramel macchiato caramel drink. I can't imagine being Mike Vrabel's wife.
Caramel macchiato
and stuff. I cannot imagine being Mrs. Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, I just think that am I burned out on this story? Hell no.
How did she find out about it?
Vrabel's wife?
Yes.
On Twitter. Guaranteed.
Oh, you think
Guaranteed.
so?
100%. Yeah. Mike didn't. Why would Mike tell her? Mike didn't know Buddy was there. Just the same way, Diana didn't know Buddy was there.
So you don't think Vrabes and Russini, or excuse me, you don't think Vrabes and Big Nose Kate had any idea that this was going to come out? You think this just came out on page 6 and that's how they? Oh my God.
Yep.
That's
Absolutely.
worse than I thought.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance they knew or had any idea. I think that the only thing they would have had an idea about is this dynamic where the Post reached out to the Patriots and the Patriots tried to kill the story. But I definitely think that they only had they had no idea that their employers would find out about this at a minimum. I mean, it is a fair take thinking about the story. We do know that the outlets like the Post and the Athletic and the New York Times and the Patriots, basically they all found out about it about 3 days before it hit Twitter. So they didn't find out through Twitter. They found out through their employer, which is probably even worse than finding out through Twitter. So maybe there's a chance that Vrabes copped to it with his wife. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I think that
you would better have told her.
Yeah, I mean, what we do know is that this is day one reaction was correct. The hand-holding photo was exactly what we thought it was. Let me get this right, Mike. So you waited however long under the guise of, our off-season program didn't start till 2 days ago. So in fairness to him, I'll cut him slack on that. Okay, fine. You wanted to talk to the players. You wanted to handle your business in-house. You wanted to put this photo up on the big screen in the meeting room and talk about how, what happened here and you got after it and, you're really sorry and you're such a terrible person. I get it, Mike. I get it, Mike. But the problem is that, you then had to go home and explain this to the wife. And quite frankly, Mike, we were just friends, ain't getting it done. So
it's not enough.
Yeah. So, I just, to say, am I burned out on it? Absolutely not.
You're here for the destruction of happy marriages.
Dude, no, you know what I'm
you're
here
so
for, dude?
here
It's
for
all
Mike
these
Vrabel.
Dudes, it's all these dudes who make millions upon millions of dollars making dumbass decisions that pull them down. I wasn't blessed with the ability to make millions upon millions of dollars at this juncture in my life. Yeah, dude. Call me what it is, dude. I'll be a macaque. Yeah, bro. I'm that guy. Here, let me get it.
Macaque.
I'm that guy, dude. Dude, you have such an autopilot life. You didn't need to go to the hotel.
Nope.
You didn't need to do that with Diana. Yet here we are. So now I get to laugh at you and I get to be here for this story because you did this to yourself.
Is Diana Russini Tiger Woods? Because there have been, and we didn't even mean to get into this today, but there have been all these stories about how she's a serial smasher. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But it seems like nobody is surprised to learn that her and Vrabes were, running a post route here. Yeah. Is she like the Tiger Woods style sex addict? Like, what do you make of Diana Russini?
Obviously, we can't factually say that she's just slept with everybody, but I think what we've known for decades, watching her do her job. Yeah, dude, watching her do her job. We know that she's been flirting and that's always been her style, dude. And
the tape doesn't lie. She said some things. So
you know, the Tiger Woods comparison, yeah, she is one of the best NFL reporters that we have today. I mean, again, that's the difference for me. I don't degrade her ability to report on the NFL based on what these two did together. I still think that she's more than capable of doing great work, and like she could easily have her own outlet and everything. But the problem is, as usual in these cases, she's going to have to lean into this, dude. You're going to at some point have to come out and talk about what you did here, or you're going to have to address it in some form or fashion. The statement of, you know, when she put that initial statement out about like, hey, I'm resigning, you know, because I don't want this to, you know, catch flack with the Athletic and the New York Times, but under no circumstances did I do anything wrong. Well, it turns out you were lying, dude. It turns out that you denied it. And Mike is,
I wouldn't say she was lying. She didn't say she didn't have sex with Mike Vrabel. Let's make that very clear. Diana Rossini's statement never was, I didn't procreate or smash, or we didn't try to plant gardens, like they forgot we were seeds. Like, she didn't say any of that.
She said that the media blew this out of proportion in her statement. That's what she said. She said that this story was nothing happened here, and this story was blown out of proportion in the media, and you know, that's that she didn't say anything that would be remotely close to you know, admitting it without admitting it. You know, she didn't come anywhere close to Vrabeling it, as it's now being called. You know, what, you know, Mike basically saying the other day in his press conference that, you know, he had to have tough conversations and X, Y, and Z, and that was the delay. And the update is, the reason this came up today is because now it's come out that Mike Vrabel is going to miss day 3 of the draft so he can go to counseling and work on himself. So again, one, respect to Mike for doing that. Respect. You didn't have to do that, but you're doing it. You know, two, I think that, I guess, yeah, my opinion is Diana at some point, if she ever wants to write again or cover the league again in any form or fashion, is going to have to come out on some level and talk about the struggle, at least. Like, you just are. That's just what it is.
Yeah. I want to clarify her statement because I think this is important.
Mm-hmm.
She said, rather than allowing this to continue, I've decided to step aside for now before my current contract expires June 30th. I do so not because I accept the narrative that has been constructed around this episode, but because I refuse to lend it further oxygen or to let it define me or my career. I have built a body of work I am proud of. I have broken stories, earned blah, blah, blah. She never once acknowledged this situation, admitted culpability. Never once did she do that. Diana Rossini has never denied. Diana Rossini has never admitted. So let's be very clear about that. She never said she did. You know what I mean? Like, she never said, hey, I did this. No, I didn't do this. She never admitted anything.
Yeah, but I think the sentiment, though, in that paragraph about not giving it oxygen, she wrote this in a specific way. And I'm not indicting her for it, but the simple fact is that you wrote this in a way that insinuates that the story is not true and that the media has pushed a narrative that is not accurate or indicative of the situation. So when you say things like, I'm resigning because I don't want to give the narrative around this, I think she said episode, oxygen, you're insinuating that this is just like a fabricated narrative, that the media just jumped all over something and it's not what it looks like. That's my problem with how that's written. It's not, it's just not. Yeah, you're right. She didn't admit anything, and
she didn't deny anything,
and she didn't explicitly deny anything. But the way that's written suggests that she feels this is a fabricated narrative that somehow is not true. And
I think she is in that statement saying, I didn't sleep my way to information.
Yeah, maybe so.
I don't think she ever denied having the affair. I don't think she ever admitted having the affair. I think she was writing a letter about her credibility. That's what I think that resignation was. But here nor there, I mean, in my opinion,
I mean, just the fact that we're able to go back and forth about it and talk about the nature of her statement kind of tells you the situation that she's in. You know, just the fact that you can debate it and try to interpret it rather than just reading it for what it is. You know, I just think that she's in a tough position, and this is not. Look, this isn't the first time we've seen somebody of affluence be in a tough spot. And that's why I'm saying the best way to handle these situations we've seen is tried and true is to lean into it and just own it, right? To your point, we all know based on, you know, what she said, based on what her husband said, all the clips over the years, you're right. It doesn't seem like these two are happily ever after. And we're going to renew our vows and we're going to double down. Like, that's not what this feels like. And the reporting on the husband's side was, that this isn't about money. He's got lots of money, that he allegedly is just fed up with her behavior.
Executive at Shake Shack, by the way, Diana Rossini's husband.
So, like, I just feel like if you're Diana Rossini, you have housekeeping to do now. You need to go and get on the same page with your husband, whether that is going to be to split or whether that is to apologize and make amends.
And they have young kids.
Yeah, right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I just think I don't know what's best for her. What I know is that she's got a lot of money, dude. She's been paid a lot of money for many years, and she's not in a place, I wouldn't think, unless there's been financial misstepping, I wouldn't think that she's in a place where she's desperate for income or like kind of has to force the issue to make money. I wouldn't think. And as you said, he's loaded too. So I think they're fine on money, which my point is, I'm not sure how long it's going to be before we hear from Diana again. That's going to be the interesting part.
I think it won't be long. I think she may not get a job in traditional media. Who'd be surprised if she popped up at Barstool? Who'd be surprised if she popped up in a scenario like that?
Yeah.
I would not be surprised. She already does a podcast with Chase Daniel. I'm interested to see if that continues. Right? Like, yeah, he played. Are you sure he played linebacker at Ohio State? I thought it was Michigan. Ohio State. Bailey with the obvious comment of the day. He's football royalty, man. I guess they didn't expect him to lose his job, but I just don't feel like he's paid any professional consequences, and she's lost everything. She's lost everything. And I guess in the organization where Bobby Kraft got lucky that some cop didn't check a box on a search warrant. You guys remember that? Allegedly, Bob Kraft was handled at a massage parlor in Florida. And there was police video surveillance in said parlor. But they forgot to check a box on a search warrant. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Has Vrabel's wife called the advocates yet? Don't believe she has.
No, I don't think so, dude.
You know, every time Jake says Mike for Vrabel, I feel guilty and did nothing.
Mike.
Okay. It's that type of show today. Yeah. Oh, look. Chaplain James White is here.
Wow. We're saving people again today.
It's always so good to see Chaplain James White. I mean, you know, he and his 86 teams he roots for are well represented. Oh, and now we have JPW Ministries.
What? Bro, this is yet another burner you have, dog.
How many burners do you have?
How many Gmail accounts have you made, bro? Dude.
Good night.
How many?
Good night. Diana gets a show on Outkick. Maybe. Well, that would not be surprising with the moral.
But this is what I mean.
Level there.
So let's say that she comes back and begins profiting off of this story. Like she gets her own show and gets like, I'm not
begins profiting.
Yeah.
God, you're such a hater.
How
What
am
do you
I
mean?
hating, dude?
Should
How am
she
I
just
hating?
never work again?
No. But what if she comes back? Because your whole take is she's lost everything and she's the victim and Mike's had nothing done to him. But what happens if she comes back, leans into the story, and is welcomed back with open arms, not in traditional media, but to the world? I mean, it's
bro. She was an NFL reporter at the New York Times.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting back to that level.
Mm-hmm.
That's over with. That ship has sailed. It doesn't matter the money you make. It's your credibility. This is now a footnote on her resume at the very best. At worst, it's what people will remember her for, rather.
Mm-hmm.
So she now needs to start her own Jersey Girl podcast, okay? She says she broke stories but never admitted to being a homebreaker. I don't think she's a homebreaker. See, like, it's that right there. Like, calling her a homewrecker, I just think is, come on. Like, that's the kind of stuff that, why is Mike Vrabel not the actor here? Why do we assume that this was a Diana Rossini action? You know what I mean?
Like, she's had the track record and he hasn't?
That you know of. Do you think this is, in your opinion, is this Mike Vrabel's first foray into the deep end of the marital pool?
Yeah, maybe not. But the reality is, in the public eye and in what we're able to know, like, he's not out on Twitter having these different clips and doing these podcasts and saying these different things. I mean, he's just been a football player, so I'm sure that he's done stuff. I have no doubt about that. But image is the conversation. I mean, that's like, I just don't know why it bothers you so much, dude. Like,
because I hate hypocrisy in stuff like this. It's always, the woman is always a hoe and the guy is always a legend. That's just like, Mike Vrabel's got to go to marriage counseling. He probably needed it. Right? Like, I just think it's unfortunate that you have Mike Smith calling Diana Rossini a homewrecker. That's what we've dumbed this down to, that she's a homewrecker. So it must be her fault. I don't think she's a homewrecker. I don't think this is her fault. The last I checked, Mike Vrabel wasn't strapped to that pool deck while she operated him like it was a lever.
Yeah, I guess the difference is that I'm not here comparing their two situations. They're both culpable. They both made a decision to be there. Mike knew what he was doing. He's a grown-ass dude. She's a grown-ass woman. They made an adult decision. But I'm not going to feel sorry for a double standard or holding her accountable to the image that she has created. There's no denying it. There's no disputing it. You don't go on podcasts and talk about how you and your husband aren't close or I mean, she just said all those things over the years. We can go and pull all the clips or whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. She's done that to herself. She didn't need to do that. She didn't need like we're I guess I just feel like the part that doesn't get talked about enough, and if we really want to talk about her, is the damage she's done to every other female reporter now because of this story. And that's the difference, dude, is that, yeah, is there a double standard because she's a woman and he's a dude? Yeah, on some level there is. Absolutely. And that's unfortunate. I've said that from day one about this story. But just because it's unfortunate doesn't mean it's untrue, right? There is a double standard. We are seeing it alive and well, obviously. But I also think that there's this conversation about, you're a reporter, bro. You have an ethical standard here. You're not an NFL head coach. It's two different positions to be in. He has more job security. That's just the truth of it. He's in an organization with a degenerate leading the organization. We know that. We've seen that. That's just what it is. And so you like this has been going on since Mike was in Tennessee. Like, allegedly, like, people are going back through your tweets and looking at the things you tweeted about them skipping on Tom Brady and wanting to be more in on Ryan Tannehill. And like, like, this is what happens now. So I don't spend time being like, oh, well, man, everyone wants to say I don't think Mike's a hero. I think Mike is a douchebag, dude. Like, you just ruined your marriage and now you're going to counseling and you're the problem in your organization. How did you accomplish that, dude?
Yeah.
You know?
I don't believe, sadly, excuse me, I don't believe Mike ruined his marriage. I have no idea. I don't get that vibe. You're missing the draft so you can go to marriage counseling. Okay, cool. He has suffered no consequences.
So
None.
what would make you feel better then? If he lost his job?
No. It would make me feel better if people weren't referring to Diana Rossini as a homewrecker. I just think that the double standard is annoying to me.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. They're two grown adults who decided to have sex. She faced some severe consequences, far more than he does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what this has to do with it. You're on a run, dude. I don't know what it is, but you know. So is it true that the hubby hired the PI? Nobody knows.
Yeah,
nobody knows for sure.
That's what it appears to be, but nobody actually knows.
I don't even think it appears to be that. I think that's people's opinion. We have no idea. People are assuming it's a PI. None of this is fact that it's a PI who took those. It just happened to be a random person. The moment that Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel were on that rooftop in Sabona, you know, maybe that just is how it played out. It's not what happened, in my opinion. She'll get a Locked On podcast. Oh, I'm certain of it. You know. Provo Dave and Arizona Rossini on the next episode of Barstool Sports. Okay. She can co-host Fox and Friends. Okay. Bailey, do you love Lamp? Okay. Wow. I can see her doing something with Barstool Outkick or some type of podcast. And she already has one. I think that's where she's going to wind up. She's going to wind up on the land of she'll probably sit down and do a television interview or a podcast interview. If she was smart, her and Chase would sit down on their podcast and do the deal. At some point, she's going to come out and talk about this. At some point. Is that on TMZ? Probably not.
No.
Probably not. You know. But, hey, man, who doesn't like a handy every now and then? I'm not questioning that. You know. I think James is low-key related to Rick and Morty somehow. Homie has personality for every universe. He really does. You know. Nice cartoon avatar pic of James with JPW Ministries burner account, right? Like, how many burner accounts do you have, dog? Is this the difference in how society sees male versus female issues? Oh, for certain. I'm a Pats fan myself and think Fable needs a little bit of help or punishment, for lack of a better term. I mean, listen, Vrabel, he's going through it a little bit. I'm not saying he's getting off scot-free.
By saying thank you. Thank you for your patience that you've shown in a personal and private matter for me and obviously everybody involved. I know that that's not easy for you, and I respect that, and I appreciate your efforts in doing so. I understand I could have, addressed you guys sooner, but it was important to me to have a conversation with the players, which I did yesterday, very candidly, as we began our off-season program, which everyone is excited to be a part of. Stacy had mentioned the players' availability, and it was never my intention to have them speak to you or address you before I did. With that being said, I've had some difficult conversations with people that I care about, with my family, the organization, the coaches, the players. Those have been positive and productive. We believe in order to be successful on and off the field, you have to make good decisions. That includes me, that starts with me. We never want our actions to negatively affect the team. We never want to be the cause of a distraction. And those are comments and questions that I've answered for the team and with the team. We'll keep those private and to ourselves. Care deeply about this football team, and I'm excited to coach them. I also know that I'm going to attack each day with humility and focus. And what I can promise you is that my family, this organization, the team, the staff, the coaches, everybody, our fans, most importantly, will get the best version of me going forward.
Okay, one, dude is a professional coach speaker. One. Two, you want to make Tiger Woods comparisons, dude? Saying that this is a private matter is the full Tiger PR play.
Please
private.
don't look at it. Please don't go look at my history of condom purchases. That's HIPAA.
Private. Yeah, that's HIPAA. That's private. You know,
I still can't believe that Tiger's trying to keep his prescription drug history private.
I think that's HIPAA.
Oof.
like
That is an ugly story. You know, it's fine. Hit the like button as we talk about NFL draft and Vrabel-Russini and Mike Vrabel. Not a home wrecker. Both parties consented to cheat. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Vrabel is applying for a job at Michigan.
stop.
He's
Just so you can go to
qualified.
Pound Town.
You know, I think we're past the point where a single female reporter can bring down the gender in the field. There is a flurry of talented female sports reporters. Yeah, but they're all judged differently.
Yeah.
Because when you're playing in a men's world, you know, the stadium guy, James, now.
Well,
Vrabel is going to counseling. I think she needs to do the same. Oh, in your interactions with Diana, does it appear that she needs counseling or what? Why don't you go to counseling? You know, if it didn't ruin his marriage, he is lucky. Personally, it would be game over for me if the spouse cheated. Well, I think my wife wouldn't even give me the chance to go to counseling. You know, I guess I understand the easy button that sex has become in our society, but at some point it's got to stop being all the woman's fault. That's all I'm saying. Vrabel in the running for the North Carolina job when Belichick gets fired. Okay. Goodell can suspend him. He could. He won't. He won't. Time for the club Shay to start a podcast network. Okay. Club Shay. Okay. You know, I hate that best version of me kind of lines. Well, you know, there is that. Muldoon. Hello. I got cheated on a long time ago. And I legit heard 2 lines in Vrabel's speech that she busted out. Honestly, funny. How do you go and tell your wife? I'm fascinated. I need to know at some point the dynamic. Like, let's say we all agree that Rossini's husband is the one that hired the PI.
You know,
I think that's extremely likely. That's just my opinion. I don't know that to be fact. But let's say we all agree on that. He knew what was happening at that point. My question is, on the Vrabel side of things, what's worst case scenario and how the family found out? The kids came home from school and was like, hey, did you see your cheating ass dad on TMZ? Was it really Twitter or the interwebs that outed Mike Vrabel to his family?
well, I mean, maybe to the kids. I don't know though. Like, I think the wife portion for Mike Vrabel, I think he probably had an opportunity to tell her before the public knew. Because again, it was the dynamic in the story where the Post reached out to the Patriots for comment and things like that. And, you know, it was reported that the Patriots hired a crisis manager to then squash the story, which the Patriots have now denied in another statement. I think that there's this, there's definitely this dynamic at play where it's like, how did that all work out? But it makes the most sense to me that Vrabel probably had the opportunity to talk to his wife about it before Twitter knew, because there was like
what do you say? Hey,
do you remember that trip where I went to Sabona and stayed at that
for
hotel?
league meetings.
Yeah, I personally believe that I had a meeting that went too far, and part of the meeting was on a pool deck with Diana Rossini.
And in a hotel room. And so we were diagnosing different routes that I could run. I don't even know what you say. Do you just...
I think you just come right out and own it. What do you say to your wife? You as a dude, I
can't even tell my wife that I bought another box of golf balls without worrying about divorce.
Bro, do you understand the disgrace and like the embarrassment that must be to go to your wife and say that you cheated on her with Diana Rossini, or anybody for that matter, because it's not unique to Diana. But you basically, hey, I was in Sedona, Arizona, and I was
at the league meetings in Scottsdale, and there's going to be some photos of me that come out in Sedona. I mean, that's what this is coming down to. I don't even know how you bring that up.
Yeah, do you roll out the full interview package at home, sit her down,
I probably would use different language than package here, but my point is...
Right.
And I think the way Diana Rossini looks plays a huge role into it. I think who it is, like it'd be different if this was your wife's friend or the cleaning lady. That'd be different than hot Diana Rossini in Sedona when you were at league meetings. Some very important league meetings in Scottsdale I got to go to, sweetheart. See you next week.
Yeah, I do think that if we're talking about Mike and like what I think should have happened to him, I do think it's rich that now we can say the Patriots are being led by a guy who allegedly wrecked his marriage and, can't be trusted by his family. Because that's what that is. I mean, that's what that is. Is that
Mike Vrabel's just a man. He's got flaws and he'll be fine. Diana Rossini is a woman who hoard herself out for headlines and stories, and she's a homewrecker.
You just love it, dude.
I hate the hypocrisy. They were two adults who decided to park a car in the garage, and he's not paying a price, and she is. I mean, did you hear about this USA Today reporter that got whacked over her tweet about Diana Rossini? Chrissy Freud, who I've never heard of, got fired after she said on Twitter, "I'm sure you were told to submit this resignation, the letter, or that you'd get fired instead. Don't let the door hit you on the way out." USA Today ended her contract.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you would say that publicly.
Yeah. The news was broke to the family over a meal at Shake Shack.
Yeah, I mean, probably, had a chocolate shake, little chicken sando.
Hey, can you pass the ketchup?
Look, I'm going to need to have a crinkle cut while I break this news, okay?
That's, yeah, I don't know. All right, let's go Big Ten SEC. Because I have a lot to say in the NFL draft, and as usual, I'm right, and Jake was wrong. So we'll save that for the best part of the show. Yeah, it is going good, and stuff. Jake is so unhappy Jake hates the NFL. I'm convinced you hate the NFL.
I just think it's much like Diana, much like Mike, much like life situations. It's just just pounded down our
no pun intended
hatch every day.
No pun intended. Yeah.
To talk football, to talk NFL, the draft. Someone went too fast on the road. Someone broke the law.
NFL 365, baby.
I mean,
that's why.
Shield,
yeah,
it's undefeated, dude. I mean, it's really just before we get into this college thing, like it's really incredible to me that the NFL is a bigger story in the off season, non on the field action than the NBA playoffs. Like the ratio is incredible that we care as a public more about this than what's happening in the NBA. That's amazing to me. That it's just wild.
Well, when you get the calls that SGA gets, it's a super turnoff.
Yeah.
And if anybody saw Devin Booker SGA last night, Devin Booker got called for an offensive foul. SGA got an and one out of the exact same play. The NBA is watching the NHL playoffs last night far more enjoyable than watching the NBA playoffs last night. Even though Connor McDeasy is pissing me off, which is fine.
Yeah.
So, speaking of, Monty was right. Yesterday, we had a bunch of jackwagons in the comments section saying that nobody's ever asked for a 2014 playoff. 8HQ. Well, it turns out that, as I told you, because, well, pimp's going to pimp. Not being a homewrecker and all, I can say these things.
Right.
That nothing came out of the meetings yesterday with the executive committee. Nothing came out of those meetings. And what I think is so interesting is the juxtaposition between the Big Ten and the SEC. Tony Petitti held a press conference yesterday. Oh, that's right. He left without talking to reporters.
What?
Huh.
Oh.
Huh. That's interesting. I wonder why that is. Oh, that's right. Because the Big Ten still is on 24 with 8 automatic qualifiers. As I said on the show yesterday. And as like 5 or 6 of you said, no, nobody's ever asked for 8 automatic qualifiers. Yeah, it turns out that's not the truth. Yeah, the Big Ten wants 8 automatic qualifiers and 24 teams. And Greg Sankey, I think, and again, I'm just going to go back and tell you what I've told you for how long on this show. These are the issues. And it's on the channel, FTR, right here on the YouTube channel. You can go back and watch our content. Never mind. The point is, it's all on the channel. Here are the divisions between the SEC and the Big Ten. The Big Ten wants 24 teams in the playoff. It wants 8 automatic qualifiers, and it does not want strength of schedule to be the leading component to qualification.
Oh, Monty, why would that be? I mean, they play a great schedule, don't they?
Now, this is the deepest league in the country, and they would have no reason to hide from their strength of schedule, right? Wrong. And as I continue to tell you, the SEC wants 16 teams. And if it goes to 24, in order for the SEC to sign on to a 24-team playoff, no automatic qualifiers for anybody, and strength of schedule has to be the leading component to determining the 24 teams. And I just think that is the best way to go about it. And I don't know why this is even controversial. If you listen to Greg Sankey, and again, I know that every time we play Greg Sankey Bites, you guys lose your minds and tell me that I'm all, Russini on Greg Sankey, and, meaning that I'm a homewrecker. But anyway, that I'm all Russini on Greg Sankey, and that he's in my pocket, and I'm a shill, and this is an SEC show. But this is almost a year ago, and tell me what Greg Sankey here has said that's wrong.
Whether people want to agree with it or not, that's up to them. We can go through the analytics and show the rigor of our schedule is different than anyone else's, period. And we had a learning session in September at the CFP about strength of schedule, and strength of schedule isn't everything, but it is an important factor. I remember very clearly one of the messages was, if you play the top-ranked team and the 130th ranked team, those two games average out to 65.5. If you play 65 and 66, they average out to 65.5. And so the advisor said, you're just as well playing 65 and 66. Here's my problem. But for maybe one, maybe two teams in a year, we don't have 65 or 66, and everybody else has a group.
What's wrong? What is he said? What did he say there that is incorrect? You don't have to like Greg Sankey, but you can't say that their strength of schedule is weaker than the Big Ten's. And that the strength of schedule, because I don't think there's any question that strength of schedule is the bright light that nobody wants to shine on their conference, unless you're the SEC. And the Big Ten, as I will continue to tell you, that's a 3-team league depending on how Michigan bounces back this year. It's 3, maybe 4. And if we get really crazy and USC does some certain types of stuff, maybe 5. That's the extent of it. And I think the hardest part, and the thing that Tony Petitti doesn't want to talk about, is he does not have depth in football in the Big Ten. And that's going to be very damaging if you get a 2014 playoff with no automatic qualifiers. You're looking at years where you're getting 5, 6 SEC teams in and 2 or 3 Big Ten teams in, which is exactly why we're making no progress on an expanded college football playoff. And probably nor should we, because until the Big Ten agrees to stop with this less than equitable access to the college football playoff, because that's what it is. At what point can we say, okay, as far as depth goes, has the Big Ten won back-to-back national championships? Yes. Have they been the best 2 football teams in college football the last 2 years, Ohio State and Indiana? Yes. Is the SEC winning as it once did? Certainly not. Does that mean the Big Ten's a better football conference? No. No, it does not. Does that mean that the SEC is the best conference in the country? No. But what I know is the Big Ten under no circumstances should get 8 automatic qualifiers into the college football playoff. Why? Why should we give them 8? Help me explain it. Make your case for all the Big Ten homers on this show. Make your case that Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, who else would deserve an automatic qualifier right now today? And I'm being generous with Michigan. Are you telling me that pedophilia U belongs in the conversation for an automatic qualifier to the college football playoff?
Not right now.
You're looking at Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon. And I'm being generous with Michigan to get you to 4. But I will say, I guess if we're giving Michigan the automatic qualifier, USC was 7-2 as well last year. Does USC deserve an automatic bid to the college football playoff? No, they do not. Not this incarnation of USC. Are you telling me that Iowa or Washington or Illinois or Minnesota? Are you telling me a 5-4 Minnesota team deserves an automatic qualifier? Come on. That's the part you can't get away from. And the very fact that Tony Petitti doesn't want to talk to the media, I think, is very telling, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Tony Petitti, generally speaking, he just doesn't embrace the media the way Greg does. And I think Greg understands, and this is just generally speaking, with how you want to run a conference, the type of personality you want to be, in the bigger picture. I think that's one of the biggest differences between these two guys, is that Greg understands that he swings a heavy stick, dude. The guy talks and everyone listens. Like, that's just what it is. And I think that while Yeah, has the SEC struggled the last few college football playoffs? Yes, absolutely. You haven't won not just national championships, because I feel like it's such a short-sighted take to just look at national championships. While they do matter, I think there's so much more inside the CFP to look at. Like you have, you have this dynamic where you have the SEC just not having as much success on the field the last couple of seasons through the college football playoff. And that's largely because you look at the Ohio State run and then you look at Indiana. Those are two of the best college football teams we've seen in the last however long. I mean, it's been a long time since we've had that kind of dominance on the football field in the Big Ten. So I think that the SEC is in this spot where if we're looking at real world depth in the CFP, the SEC needs the secondary contenders to really start coming through a little bit. Like, yes, the SEC is deep. Yes, it's a deeper league than the Big Ten. But if you're talking about CFP success, it's if you compare these two conferences for the longest time, it was essentially Ohio State and Michigan, and then you typically had Alabama and Georgia. Those four have really dominated the CFP conversation the last like 5 years, and now it's turning into a thing where because of all the money and because of everything that's going on outside of the college football playoff, Tony Petitti and company want a free pass. And I don't feel like that's what it should be. Do I want, like, generally speaking, again, do I want an expanded CFP? Yeah, I'd love one. I would love, 16 or even 24, but I don't think that it should be done under the guise of we want a free pass in. We want 8. Like, I don't think the SEC should get 8 auto qualifiers. I don't think the
No.
Big 8. I think it should be, honestly, what I think it should be is I think there should be 4 AQs, 4 conference champions. You win your conference championship game, you're in the CFP. That's it. The rest of it should be all at large, all decided on the football field. And that's the system that needs to be created. But again, to your point, they don't want that because that takes away the, hey, we can just plug in, 4 or 5 teams every year, no matter what the winning or losing looks like. And that's the problem that I have with college football right now.
Yeah. Jimmy Otson. The Big has 4 of the last 6 CFP finalists in their conference. Well, they actually don't. They have 3 of the last 5 because Michigan doesn't count. The SEC has 0. I'd be more concerned about how the SEC is doing than how great the Big is or isn't. The SEC is doing fine. You have 6 10-win teams last year.
How many CFP finalists would the SEC have if they played in a soft-ass conference like the Big Ten?
You can't just look at a final in a game and be like, oh, the Big Ten's a better conference. You simply can't. And all the Big Ten apologists that roll in here on a regular basis and Iowa is irrelevant. Minnesota's irrelevant. Rutgers is irrelevant. Who's turning on the TV to see those teams play football? You and 3 of your friends. With all due respect, who's watching Michigan State football? Who's watching Purdue? The garden variety Big Ten game that is like tier 7. Who's watching? The parents? The parents of the players. That's who. Their friends, maybe. Like, do you have legions of Golden Gopher fans? No. Nope. You don't. I don't buy it. And it is what it is. I guess.
I just think what Big Ten fan likes to do is they like to say, oh, well, look at all the championships and look at all the finalists and the SEC sucks and we're the best. Yeah, but why don't you look at the regular season? Look at what you don't have to do in the regular season to get to the CFP, and look at what the SEC has to do to get to that same point. If Ohio State played the SEC schedule, they wouldn't be Ohio State. If Michigan played, if Sharon Moore played in the SEC, he would have had a 2-win season max. That's what you don't want to admit. That's what Big Ten defender doesn't want to talk about. Did Ohio State go on one of the greatest runs in the college football playoff? Yes. Why did they do that? Well, they did that because their guys were rested. Their guys played a soft-ass schedule. They had 2 games on that schedule in the regular season. And then you went into the CFP healthy and ready to go because you didn't really play anyone outside of, I believe it was Oregon. And then there was one other game on that schedule that I can't remember. But you basically had 2 games that year that you played. So the conversation is, yes, the Big Ten wants 8 AQs because they don't play anybody in the regular season. They have a very soft schedule. And what they want is they want their average ass teams to be able to get into the CFP every single year so they can make more money. But everybody and their mom knows that if even the best teams in the Big Ten, put Ohio State in the SEC, and you tell me how many 10-win seasons that squad's going to generate every single year for like the next 10 years. I would put money on the fact that they wouldn't be able to generate more than 5 10-win seasons in a 10-year span. And why? Because look at the talent. You've got even the secondary talent. Like, hey, LSU's still rebuilding, Florida's still rebuilding. Who knows what Pete Golding at Ole Miss is going to look like? But look at Bama, look at Georgia. Like, look at these different schools that just are deep as hell, good as hell, and they play these super. Look at the Alabama Georgia game last year, dude. That's one of the best college football games we've ever seen in the regular season, bro. Like, the hypocrisy of it's incredible. That Big Ten fan, like, I'd almost rather Big Ten fans say, yeah, you know what? Like, yeah, regular season soft as hell, but that's giving us a huge advantage over the SEC and the CFP, and we don't want to change that. If you would just be honest about that and just say like, yeah, we have a huge advantage through the regular season. We absolutely live and die on that. And then we get to the CFP and we're rested, and that gives us a big advantage. I would be fine. I could respect that.
I think all of that's the bottom line is the Big Ten hasn't earned 8 automatic qualifiers, and there's a reason he's asking for it, because he knows they're never getting 8 teams in. It would almost be thievery to have 8 Big Ten teams in. Notre Dame James for $2. The SEC goes deep. 8 AQs sounds about right.
How?
Okay.
How are we blacklisting Notre Dame, dude? How?
I'm not a Notre Dame fan. I don't root for teams that don't let their players have names on the back of their jerseys. Go Frogs. Yeah, because the difference, I guess, James, is you don't have teams with history and tradition. So, you're more about, the greatest tight end who was going to be amazing and running backs that get DUIs. You do you, bud.
Yeah, bro.
You do you. I love that James is trying to take shots at Notre Dame for not having names on their jersey. Yes. Oh, look, wish you were me. Your one comment for the year. Yes, 11 teams in the top 25 for strength of schedule. Keep talking about your feelings, not facts. Right. I don't understand why you watch this show. You're wrong about everything. Like, you're one of the guys that has constantly come in and just run out Big Ten narratives with no facts to back it up. So enjoy your place for invisibility. Just ask Summerall. The Big Ten just haven't earned it to have 8 teams. They haven't earned it. That's right. Absolutely right. Big Ten football is like Big East basketball for the last 10 years. 2 or 3 excellent programs at the top that win natties, and then the quality drops from there. Totally agree. I totally agree. Jay Beers, yeah, no way Big Ten deserves 8 teams. Absolutely ridiculous. This is another reason why expanding the playoff is going to be difficult. I do think 24 would be so fun. I don't have an issue with 24. It's never bothered me. 16, 24, 179. It's always about how you determine who those 24 teams are. And strength of schedule is absolutely, without question, got to be the number one factor. I've been saying that for how long? It's got to be the leading factor because it is a determination of the quality of your win, the quality of your opponent. You have to play 10 P4 programs every single year. It should be the minimum bar. I have no problem with week 0 scrimmages. None whatsoever. I think you need them in your schedule. I have a problem with Alabama playing Mercer in November. That can't happen. It just can't happen. It just is not feasible. I think Ohio State would go 11-1 if they were in the SEC.
Okay. Well, good luck backing that up.
They don't go 11-1 in the Big Ten on a regular basis.
Backing that up, dude.
What are you talking about?
I love this too. Oregon gets in the conference year 1, goes 13-0 and wins the conference. Yet you guys are trying to make the argument that the Big Ten is not soft. Like, come on, dude. This is not hard to understand. And I'm just gonna do just real quick because I want to ratio everybody in the comments section saying that the 8AQ thing isn't widely reported. Here's a search I just did on my phone right here. This is from my phone right here, right now. Yes, the Big Ten, often referred to in the context of your query as the Big 1924. Not sure where Google got that from. Look at this, the proposal. The Big Ten has proposed a 2014 playoff model, which would include 4 automatic qualifiers. And then it goes on to talk about how Tony Petitti wants 8. Like, this is widely reported, dude. This is absolutely widely reported, bro. Like, it includes a high number of automatic qualifiers. Do you understand? If you go on 3, you go to Ross's Twitter, like you go to Yahoo, you go to any place, they're all talking about that.
Saturday Down South.
Yeah, like dude wants 8 automatic qualifiers. This has been going on for like 2 years now, man. This is not new. This is absolutely not new.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's amazing to me, man. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is almost shocking. All right, let me get some more of your comments in here. I really appreciate everybody that participates in the show. Make sure you hit the like button. Let's see. Where are we at here? I'm not a Notre Dame fan. Go Frogs. Well, it's just that you're commenting from all of your accounts. Bobby Bagels, another Big Ten guy. I believe you're an Iowa fan. Cryptic, obviously you do, or you wouldn't have responded.
Yeah, and dude, Bobby, like you're out here criticizing me in the comments section earlier about Ohio State's run. You're not willing to admit or cop to the fact that, again, Ohio State played a super light schedule and was rested, and that's been studied, dude. It's actually been talked about multiple times that the advantage, and head coaches talk about this a lot in the SEC and the Big Ten. Hey, we build our schedules so that we play lighter competition through the season. That way we're rested for the CFP.
Kirk Cignetti's talked about that.
Yeah. So I just don't understand why we can't get on the same page. I agree that the Big Ten has dominated the SEC the last several years in the college football playoff. I agree with that. Like, the SEC's got work to do. I agree. However, I'm also not going to give the Big Ten just a free pass to do whatever the hell they want to do because they've had 3 seasons of success in the CFP. Like, I'm not doing that, dude.
Yeah, and our TV friend Marcus makes a great point. The 8AQ is about a lot more than simply the lipstick on the pig of getting 8 teams into the college football playoff. It's how you make money. It's how you are paid. If you don't get 8 teams in and another conference does, that next year is going to be hell for you. That's exactly right. And why is that? Because when you get 8 teams in, you make a lot more money. When you get 8 teams in, you're going to play more and more college football playoff games, which means you get a lot more money versus getting 2, 3, 4 teams in. Why is it so devastating that the Big 12's never been able to put multiple teams in?
Not making money.
You're not making money. So you're stuck in this thing. So when somebody tells you, and this is my biggest issue with 8 for the Big 10, 8 for the SEC, 4 for the ACC and the Big 12. Do you know what a strategic and financial disadvantage being capped at 4 automatic qualifiers is?
Yeah.
Do you know how financially devastating that is? That's a great point, Marcus. Do you know how financially devastating that is for the Big 12 and the ACC? So any of the jackwagons out here being like, oh, well, Big 12 only deserves 4. ACC only deserves 4. Do you know how you're just handing them a shovel to dig their own grave? You can't, that is the quickest path to crushing college football. And I think Greg Sankey knows that. Because what has he consistently said? Got to expand the game. Can't contract it. Has to be a national game. Can't just be a regional game. That's exactly right. It's why you see teams like Texas and Michigan playing big games early in the season. It's got to happen. It absolutely has to happen. In the grand scheme of things, why do the Big Ten even need that many auto qualifiers? The Big and the SEC will get the majority of those extra slots, I would think,
Precisely
right?
my point.
Mike, that's exactly right.
That's a great point.
Home wrecker.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's just funny that the conference that seemingly tells you that they're the best and they run everything wants a free pass. And I just you asked me earlier in the show if I got burned out on a topic. I'm burned out on Big Ten homers saying that everything runs through the Big Ten and that the Big Ten is somehow the best conference ever. I agree. Again, I'll keep saying it. Yeah, you've had some success. You've been on a good run the last couple of years. That doesn't mean that you're deep or that somehow, like from a fiscal standpoint or just from an overall success standpoint, that you're a great athletic conference. There are some areas where you're good, a lot of areas where you're not.
And their biggest brands excel in the Big Ten. Let's be very honest.
Yeah.
Their biggest brands excel. But for the Big Ten to be good, Bobby Bagels, we need Iowa. We need Roy Marble type shit at Iowa, right? Like we need Caitlin Clark at Iowa, consistently putting their basketball programs, football. Like you need your big sports to do well in 3/4 of your league. It's why the SEC, being such a behemoth in basketball the last several years, has really helped propel them financially. It's not a question of, do the biggest brands in the Big Ten do good things? They do. They do. The question is, how do you fix Rutgers? Because in the SEC, Vanderbilt would have been in a 2014 college football playoff last year, a 16-team college football playoff last year. The dregs of this league, the Mississippi States of the world, those are, you're going to have, like, who's the worst team in the Big Ten? Rutgers, I would say, on a pretty regular basis, right? If you look at the Big Ten, how much better would the Big Ten be if Purdue will never compete, so throw them out. If Maryland, Michigan State, if Michigan State wasn't 1-8, if Michigan State was 7-2, how much better is the Big Ten? Oh my God. If Wisconsin was 7-2 instead of 2-7, oh my God. If you had 6 legitimate national championship contending football programs in the Big Ten, how much deeper is that league? I mean, it's exponentially deeper, but you don't. Last year, without question, Indiana was the best team in the country. Ohio State was right with them. And then what? Because Oregon turned out to be a bunch of frauds. USC, Michigan, and then I think the gap between how much better was Michigan last year than Iowa? Probably not much. Right? Probably not much. How much better is, if we look at Iowa instead of, how much better was Iowa last year than Washington? Not much. Illinois, not much. You have this group in the middle that just is so mediocre. where if Minnesota, and maybe Minnesota is the best example of this, Minnesota on a yearly basis could win 10 games. But instead, they win 7 or 8. When are you going to fire Kirk Ferentz and move on about your life so you can win 10 games? How is Wisconsin failing with Luke Fickell, who is, I don't think with even a little bit of question, an elite head coach? The systematic issues at the middle bottom of the Big Ten are crippling that league. It's something that the SEC doesn't deal with, truth be told. The 2 best teams in the P4 should get autos. Who determines the 2 best teams? Which normally would be the 2 teams in each conference championship game. Beyond that, no autos. I think I'm with Jake. The 4 conference champions get in, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then fill it with whatever. Bobby Bagels. Well, the Big Ten trucks out to the CFP last few years wins it all. If I was Petiti, I would be happy with that. I don't think you can be happy with that because you're living on a TV deal that only powers the top half of this league. Because if you look at Ohio State, who I think is the model in the Big Ten, they're making so much money not related to their TV contract. They're an enterprise unto themselves. You've got to figure out a way to get other teams in this league to do that, other programs in this league to do that. Funny how the Big Ten always seems to get its way in the end. Well, they haven't gotten its way at all. Well, how have they gotten their way in the end?
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Tony Petiti's been beating the 24-8 model for 2 years now. And we've never gotten close to it.
I think he knows that 8 AQs is never going to happen. I think he's well aware of that. I think, though, that you would beat that drum to get. I mean, the most common one that is thrown around is the 4-4-2-2 model, right? 4 for the Big Ten, 4 for the SEC. But I think that's a compromise that I think is popular because it has the appearance of working out for everyone. But I still maintain what would be the best is the 4 conference champion model, and everything else is up for grabs, because then at that point you have chaos. And I maintain this. I said this about the basketball tournament. Chaos is what drives viewership. Getting good matchups where there's a lot on the line early in the CFP is what drives viewership. In an ideal world, you want the Texas-Ohio State game from week 1 to be in the first round of the playoff, because then you're sending, you're playing. There's a lot on the line, dude. You're one of those big boys is going home, and obviously that's SEC and Big Ten, and I just think I don't know, man. I hope that at some point we can wake up and do a show where the new system's in place and we actually have progress to talk about, because I feel like the reporting out of Ross and everybody who was there is just it largely is the same. It's consistent of hey, not a lot of progress was made. We're just sitting here talking and spinning, and that's that's the problem. Is that it's just I don't know how this group of people makes progress on this. I don't, because there's no even though obviously I think the SEC has done a better job, there's no way for Greg to have total and complete decision making power. There's no way for Tony to have total and complete decision making power, and that's what's difficult.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about it. Here's the last question, because I do want to get to NFL draft. Should the G6 have a spot in the college football playoff? My answer is not changed, and the answer is no. I think there's an appetite for a G6 playoff system. I think that the Pac-12 can mouth breathe its way into, we're amazing, I want automatic qualifier. They can't even agree. And it's very interesting how just subtly the language on a G6 qualifier changed. Did anybody notice? The change in wording is a detail of the new CFP contract that some G6 leaders were unaware of until earlier this year. There was also some discussion, but no news on the Group of 6 automatic spot in the CFP, which this upcoming season will go to the highest ranked team from those leagues instead of the highest ranked G6 conference champion. Who's been the one trumpeting that? That'd be good old Gouldy at the Pac-12, who does not want the highest ranked conference champion because it's going to be very difficult for the Pac-12 to qualify for that. She wants the highest ranked G6 team, not the highest ranked G6 conference champion.
Yeah.
And she got her way. And I am here to tell you that there is a lot of momentum not to have the G6 in the college football playoff if it expands. Because I agree, it makes no sense. And I think people are starting to finally see and realize the G6 game is a tune-up. It's almost a reward. When you look at the results over the last several years, the lack of competitive football with the G6 has been stunning.
Vast.
It has been stunning. And you have somebody like Boise State who can go to Autzen and give them hell, but not win the game. And everybody's like, see, Monty, they belong in. And then they get in, and what happens? They get crushed because they don't have the depth and they don't have the size of human. Because they don't have the funds and the infrastructure to compete with the P4s. And I think it waters down the college football playoff when you put, let's just put the highest ranked G6. And the soccer writer in Poughkeepsie is the one determining who the highest rated G6 football team is. It waters down the product. Yeah. And there is momentum and money for a college football playoff style system for the G6. And I think that's where they belong. Because the truth that nobody wants to tell you is the G6 leaves money on the table for a lot of reasons if they never build their own playoff. Because one group of 6 team getting into the college football playoff, what does that do for the G6? Not a whole lot of anything.
Yeah, and
almost nothing.
I think the real problem too is like when you look at the G6 and the lack of performance, I have to say, like, you can't ignore the fact that the Big 12 struggles in the CFP are kind of similar to the G6. I mean, you look at the tech performance, you look at, just look at the Big 12 and look at the lack of success in the CFP and how, you got shut out, dude, last year in the CFP. You didn't score a single point. Like it's
rough.
I agree that the Big 12 is better than a G6 conference, but if we're talking about CFP success, there's not much more to lean on. That's why I say I think that this, if we set the Big 10 SEC argument aside for a second, and you just look at college football as a whole, it really is this thing where I don't think the Big 12 is going to fold per se or like go away, but you're getting into dangerous territory around lack of CFP success. Like the ACC at least can say, hey, well, we had Florida State, obviously Miami, Clemson was a huge contributor to the CFP pre global shutdown. So like the ACC has had, its share of success. Maybe not as much as the Big 10 and the SEC, but the ACC can say they've won a national championship in the CFP era. The Big 12 hasn't even been, what do they have? I guess they have TCU, but that's it. It's just not an every year thing. And that's what's hard.
And Arizona State Obviously, Texas Tech last year was a huge disappointment.
Yeah.
And I would hope that adding Sorsby is an upgrade to Barron. I know I don't know anything about Barron Morton, and I'm a jerk for that, what I said last year, but you have to upgrade Barron Morton. And hopefully you did that, even though you're not going to make Sorsby pay his $1 million to Cincinnati. You know, I'm just saying. I don't see why we're trying to force the G6 into the college football playoff. It's costing them money. They're literally losing money.
Yeah, because I think that there's not a willingness on their part to create a playoff model for themselves. That's the challenge. I mean, we can't even get, dude, look at the ineptitude in the G6, dude. You can't even get on the same page between the Mountain West and the Pac-12, with all due respect. Like, and I'm not even saying that's anybody's fault in particular, but these two have been going at this for how long, to the point where now we're just waiting for the next like huge development in the story, and it's dragging its feet as long as possible. And I just think that they need their own playoff model. I just don't think it's fair to ask them to ask JMU to compete against Oregon is ridiculous.
I agree.
To ask Boise State to go and compete against Penn State, I think it was, Penn State, I think it was 2 years ago, is just a ridiculous ask. I mean, that's just not how it should be.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see where the G6 spot is and how that plays out. But I just don't, are we concerned about the quality of football in the college football playoff?
Not when it gets down to it. Early rounds are always suspect.
But that's my point. Don't you want every game to be, I mean, you can't have Texas Tech getting shut out.
No.
But at least they're a conference champion. You can't have the JMU stuff. You can't have SMU a couple of years ago. You can't have, I feel like it's the college football playoff. The bar should be higher. Everything, it just means more. Well, then give me the 24 best teams if that's where we're going. Can we honestly sit here and say that any G6 team is one of the best teams in the country at any given point?
No.
No, I don't think you can say that.
I don't even think that that's hard to come to that conclusion. Boise State was never one of the 12 best teams in the country. That just wasn't the case.
Even when Ashton Ginty was at his best.
Yeah, you just weren't.
Right? And it just, the money is so vastly different. Anyway, I think, and I've talked to TV people about this for years and years, I think there is at the time G5, now G6 product to be built. I think it is there. And I think once we figure out where the P4 is going and what we're doing with a new entity, and because I also think, again, not to be redundant, a new entity eliminates 24 in automatic qualifiers. That all goes away when you have a new entity and you have a playoff format in place that is rock solid. That all goes away. And I think one of the things that I look at is it's a lack of leadership in the G6, in my opinion.
Yes.
Nobody has the courage to stand up and say, this is the direction we need to go. Let's start exploring. Because I know they've talked about it. I have talked to G6 representation who has plainly said, yeah, most of the league doesn't want to put the sweat equity into building a playoff system like the college football playoff for the group of 6 teams. And that's the biggest issue. And I also think you're talking about athletic directors and college presidents that are so knee deep in the mud already that they feel like they don't have time or energy to do that. And on some level, I guess I understand that.
Which is why you need a league office of sorts to help you with these things, right? You need that. That's my point. That's why nothing ever changes in college football, because the NFL has this advantage where there's a league office and a group of owners who can get together and hammer things out. College football doesn't have that. And
plain and simple.
That prevents you from making any type of tangible progress. And that's why you get intervention from the, from the leaders of the country. Like, that's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. I thought it was kind of set that Kirk was going to retire after the year prior, and then bam, no more talk about it. Well, I think Kirk Ferentz is a really solid dude who needs to step aside so the program can move forward. It is not unlike Utah and Kyle Whittingham, because Iowa is mediocre and uninteresting.
Can I just want to point this out? The only main and clear difference between the two is Utah was pushing to get into the CFP. Iowa is not on that level.
But Jake, they're in the Big Ten, so they're one of the best teams in the country.
When we're talking about Witt having to step aside so the program can move forward, I don't see the program moving forward in a direction that is more competitive than what you had. And the problem at Iowa is that if he does move over, Iowa's probably going to get more competitive. That would be the clear difference.
Yes. I don't think you include the top G6 team for competition reasons. I think you do it for business growth of the game reasons, which is why you wouldn't do it.
But again, a CFP format, and again, this is why the sweat equity thing that you were talking about kind of annoys me a little bit, in the sense that it's like, you guys are all sitting here knee deep in money issues, but you don't want to put together a system that would inevitably pay you more money because it's your own system with your TV partners. And the reality is the schools that are, competitive at the G6 level and trying would get rewarded for that effort, because again, you're not going to have as many, like the G6 playoff model would never be 24 teams. It would be like a sub 10, probably 4 or 8 at most style system. It would never be as big.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's akin to Cinderella and March Madness, but it's not. Because basketball, and a lot of people make this comparison. My opinion is basketball, you can get a 3-point shooter, get hot. You can get all kinds of things. Basketball's game of runs, right? And in football, the G6 can't win at the line of scrimmage. That's the whole take. The G6 can't win at the line of scrimmage because they don't have the funding to buy the humans, to develop the humans, to feed the humans, to weightlift the humans, and to educate the humans, because they're constantly being poached. And if you do develop one of the best left tackles in the country, they're going to the P4. So is their strength and conditioning coach, and so is their head coach. You can't physically compete because you don't have the resources and the assets. It's a no-win situation, and it's this cycle that just keeps feeding itself. And it really and I think this is why so many people don't understand the college football playoff. Putting one G6 team into the college football playoff is a hard cap on their ability to make more money, which is a hard cap on their ability to compete with the P4. And again, can you win a game in September? Can Appy State go to Michigan? Yes. Can Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame? Yes.
The 55-point game with Texas Tech and Abilene.
Is that happening in December and January? No. No, it's not. That's the harsh reality. And that's not opinion. That's history. That's history. Not every playoff game is a winner. You're going to have some stinkers. Even in the NFL, you have some playoff games that are met at best, right? But they need to be competitive on paper. It needs to be a product.
Yeah, nobody thought that JMU was going to compete with Tech or compete with Oregon. Nobody and that's the hard part. And I think that, Boise State made it a little bit closer on paper. I think because everyone thought Ginty would do what he does, but I don't know, dude. I think Again, I think that this is what makes the NFL is that we don't have to do this in the NFL. We don't have to wonder. We don't have to, like, it's what
Yep.
makes when we talk about the draft here in a little while, it's what makes the things like the draft or anything else, you know, reasonable, because you can say, okay, well, hey, if they do X, Y, and Z, whether it's in the draft or free agency or whatever, if you have a good off season, that should equate to, a wild card berth, let's say, or like that should allow you to
Correct.
go and do X, Y, and Z. But the problem is in college football is that the recruiting window and like, adding guys and getting rid of guys and like, just what it all looks like. It's just such a behind the scenes thing that you don't really like.
I
We don't
agree.
have a draft in college football because there's not anything to draft. Like it's just I sometimes feel like college football's turned into this cycle of just, movement. Like it's almost like it's running in place. It's a cycle of movement without progress. You're just standing here. You're standing here with a great product in the CFP, generally speaking. You're trying to refine that product. You're trying to get more money out of it. You're trying to progress it. But everybody's just out for them. And then we have the obvious hypocrisy that hey, player compensation's going too much and we got to change all these things. Yet we're gonna give Kalen DeBoer or guys like him, head coaches, these massive extensions and pay them $10+ million a year every year for like the next 7 years. Like there's just a lot of clunkiness, and I just think that that's what makes things really difficult. Which is why I say, I wish we could just fast forward to, hey, we have a new entity. This is what we're doing. Get excited about it.
Yeah.
Like that's the hard part.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here talking to Marcus about, the structure of college football playoffs. Marcus is our TV buddy, for those of you who don't know, and what the appetite is for 24 teams. TV, I think, would open their contract for 24 teams. I have no doubt about that. I also think that these different networks are not up for the 8 qualifier thing. And Marcus again reiterates he's seen paper with 8, 4, and 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes it very difficult. It makes it very difficult when you stock the 24 teams ahead of time. I think it takes the intrigue out of it. I also think if you are CBS, do you really want the G6 to be eliminated from the college football playoff? When you have a huge investment on CBS Sports Network with the G6. So you're going to have that entity. Does Fox and ESPN want to limit or put a hard cap on how many Big 12 teams can make the college football playoff? Well, that's their football partner. Do they want to do that? Well, the other problem is the SEC and ESPN. Well, the other problem is the Big Ten and Fox. This is where those incestuous relationships happen.
Well, and the other side too is that, to that point, is that Brett Yormark has publicly said that the Big 12 would never vote in favor of any playoff model, whether that's 8 or 4 or whatever it might be, that has them accepting the fact that they're half as valuable as the Big 10 or the SEC.
Correct.
Which again, I also think is the really difficult part here is like, how do you, that's why I'm saying the CFP is a great product, generally speaking. Like it works in theory, like it for now it works. Does it have its flaws? Absolutely. But generally speaking, it provides good TV ratings. There's clear value to the TV partners, clear value to the kid, clear value to legacies in college football. It checks boxes, but it's, ad partners, of course. Right. Exactly. So like it has its value. But I'm telling you that these meetings that are the genesis of why we're talking about this today, I'm not going to say they're a waste of time because they need to be had. The conversation has to be had to progress. But nothing is going to change, in my opinion, inside of a CFP format because you're never going to get anybody to agree on anything. This is the heart and soul of progression / regression in our country in the bigger picture. Nobody can agree on anything. Nobody is willing to say, hey, yeah, like for the TV partners, like you were just saying, yeah, we'll cut the G6 because we're going to get, 3 more CFP games in this bigger, expanded, beefier CFP model. So yeah, we can afford to get rid of the G6 games because we're picking up, P4 CFP games. That trade is obviously worth the value. But just the same way
the
for
juice
a TV
is
partner,
worth the squeeze.
yeah, there's enough butter for all the toast, right? Regardless of whether you're using butter knives or not to spread it. So I just look at it and I say that I hope that these guys sitting around these tables having these talks are spending more time on what a new entity would look like and how they can get that done versus trying to mold the CFP into a model that inevitably is never going to be approved. Because I'd love to hear, not that we'll ever hear it, but I'd love to hear Tony Petitti or Greg Sankey, because obviously Greg's out for Greg in the SEC. I'd love to hear these guys talk about, well, let's say that you came up with a perfect model. How exactly are you getting the Big 12 and the ACC to vote in favor of something that their half is valuable on? Like, that's not going to happen, dude. So that's why I'm saying, like, we can have the argument. We can bandy about for the sake of bandying about the Big 10 and the SEC. But I just don't see any way that it gets pushed through. I just can't see that.
Look who decided to show up today.
What, you are able to get back on the ground and turn the show on, or what's the deal?
Well, thanks for gracing us with your presence.
Yeah,
TJ. The Pac-12, I believe, are just looking for a reason to sue the P4 for being excluded from the playoff. Well, they do sue frickin' everybody. It's what they do.
Yeah, it's what they do.
That's what they do. TJ, good to see you. Need the top 16, 20 G6 teams that invest in one conference that can compete. Well, there is also
but that would be a radical. Now, I'm not saying you're wrong, but just look at how that would shake up college football. If the G6 came together, like if Gloria, Teresa, and Tim Pernetti got in a room, let's say, and said, you know what, like, we're the 3 preeminent G6 conferences right now. We're the 3 that are leading the way. Let's put our conferences together, create one super conference that spans the whole country, geographically speaking. We'll continue to schedule the way we do. And when it comes down to playoff season, we'll compete for a championship. I mean, you would never be able to get that approved. That's the problem. How do you do anything in a system that has too many people voting? That's the problem.
That's a great question. And the answer is I have no earthly idea. I don't know. And I think it's going to be very difficult it's going to be very difficult to get everybody to do anything all at the same time. I just don't know how you do it.
Well, I mean, I think what we've seen, the way they'll do it, and I think this is what we've kind of talked about this morning, is they'll package it in a way where it'll say, like, the Big 10 and the SEC are going to get the same AQs as the Big 12 and the ACC, let's say. Though that'll be the headliner, right? Like, Power 4 conferences all get the same. But then they will find a way through either scheduling or some other avenue to gain that inherent advantage that they have already, which I think is the biggest talking point. The Big 10 and the SEC already have an advantage, which is why I don't understand why they're pushing this hard. Like, you're already getting the lion's share of the CFP money. It's already taking place. Like, again, you can't have a conversation where you're like, oh man, we need more auto qualifiers or we need to change this, and just ignore the fact that the Big 12, through their own fault, not saying it's the Big 10's fault or the SEC's fault, the Big 12 has only had one team in the CFP basically every single year. They're not a multi-team league at all. And the ACC's lucky to have more than one a lot of years. They've just done a good job making sure that that one team they get in is actually competitive and can get to the final and some years win a national championship. So that's why I'm saying, like, this exercise that these guys are going through, is a run in place exercise. You're
Yes.
already doing what you're trying to do.
Yep.
That's what I don't get.
Yeah. I mean, the Monty Show is always presented by the Advocates at theadvocates.com. Don't forget the Bikes or Bust program that the Advocates are running in Utah. May 9th, clean out your garage, shed, and bring your old and unwanted bikes. Bicycle Collective will get the bikes back in safe working condition and will donate them back to the community. I tell you this all the time about the Advocates, and I don't care where you listen to this show. You know, if you're one of our great Las Vegas listeners, Southern California, the state of Washington, obviously Utah, Idaho, you have the Advocates working in your communities on things like donating bikes back to the less fortunate. And it makes a huge difference when you have businesses that invest in their communities. That's what's great about the Advocates. And of course, if you've been in an accident, get to theadvocates.com. 24/7, 365. You can chat with an injury attorney live online, and it won't cost you a dime at theadvocates.com. All right, NFL draft in 5 minutes. Let's get to our guy, Calamoni, donating 20 Monty Show memberships. Boy, that chime has more of a meaning today, doesn't it? Calamoni, always good to see you. I appreciate your support. You guys, if you don't have a membership by now, I'm not really sure what you're waiting for. You in stuff.
Such as in like.
And stuff. Calamoni, appreciate you very much. Thank you, Calamoni, for free memberships on the regular. I just wish you posted more like you did before. Wow. And donuts. How can anyone compete with the advent of $100 million budget? You really can't. TJ Beck, he's a pilot. If the G6 could get out of their own way, they will make more money. They will hate that they aren't with the big boys and are a developmental league, but they live and not die. Well, North Dakota State's a great example of that. Why is North Dakota State in the Mountain West? Because you can't just keep doing the same thing you've been doing. Right? I mean, I think you look at even the level setter programs like North Dakota State, because I think the Dakota State boys, if you will, the Dakota boys are always pushing the bar forward. Always. Look at that. Ken Maynard gifted 5 Monty Show memberships. Let's go. Donate them. Really appreciate that. We have 2 tiers of memberships. We have the basic membership that we read your comments. Your comments get highlighted. It shows us you're a member, because a lot of times, and most of you know why, we don't really read a lot of non-member comments. We also have the members only content that includes an Instagram chat group that Jake personally curates while changing his vests on and stuff.
And here's an example of our comment, or our members only Instagram chat performing for us. Here's Jeremiah Champion coming up with an acronym graphic for the show. Okay. Here's this. I have not made this.
God.
This is Jeremiah Champion making this for us. And admittedly, it is pretty good. I mean, it's a beautiful graphic, did a really good job.
Wow, I look way older in that picture.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. He made you look like
Fucking
an old head in this
asshole.
picture,
Like, what are you do? Are you kidding me?
Talk about a pipe job, dude. Like, I mean, are you on AARP in this picture, dude? Like, come on. Like, what are we doing? Now, I will say in mine,
what?
I look older too, but he's done a good job including the puffy vest. So the details did matter here. But, you know, I would love in the comments section some feedback on the list that we've built here. What are we missing on this list? If you're in the comments section looking at this,
NSIABMTYA. Nick Saban's a better man than you are.
Right? So, like, you know, there's just these different things.
Burner account James. BDM is Big Daddy Magic. BK Butter Knives. I like it. TCJ is TCU James. How many does James have? I like it. YOLO, you only live once. For what it's worth. Priest James. I like it. Oak State James, Monkey James.
You're so fucked.
How many James are on here, dude?
The
It's
life we live on
incredible.
this show.
Look at this. On the right-hand side, MJ, Monty James.
You are missing with all due respect, which actually means with no respect. Exactly. A lot of James references. AI Jake is 10 of 10. Real
Yeah,
Jake is
I
7
know.
of 10.
Look at that. Look at Buddy. Look at how good AI version of me looks versus like what I actually look like on the day-to-day, dude. Like,
Jeremiah, you have disappointed me here. You have disappointed me here. I like what the like I do, bro. I
Morty.
look like Joe Biden in that picture. Are you kidding me? Be better.
So, we feedback in the comments section. What do we need to add to the list? What else would you like to see on the list? But Jeremiah created this in our members only content.
TS7.
Yeah,
TS7.
Yeah,
Oh
Texas
my
State
God.
James or Texas State is the best, So it just was
Incredible.
I thought this was really well done, dude. Really overall, really well done.
Rush Limbaugh. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Incredible, Jeremiah. Monty looks 75. Thank you. Look at Beers getting a membership. Way to go, buddy.
Nice, dude.
Incredible work, Jeremiah. TBH is missing.
TBH. Yeah, I gotta
We
have that
need
on
a WWDD. What would Dicka do? Don't disagree.
He did have one on there that was similar to that. What
Dicka.
oh yeah, here at the bottom. What would Ward do in reference to Ward Manual?
Oh, Jesus. Not fire anybody? Blow that photo up so we can see Grandpa Monty. Thanks for that, Phil. Vegas was interesting over the weekend, Phil. It's fine. Couldn't hit an iron and, Hey, man, I just told AI to make y'all into caricatures. Blame AI. Hey, you know what? I agree. AI sucks. Grandpa Grumpy, thank you. Thank you. No, Guy, you're such a dick.
Look at this, dude. Like, it's even got the chair color the right way, dude. It's incredible.
It does. Oh, my God, it totally does.
The chair is even right. Like, my goodness.
Okay. Jeremiah, this is good work.
Yeah, bro. Nice job. Nice job.
At least Monty was not pictured as Dr. Jesus. Oh, God.
Right.
Mike, AARP Monty, thanks for that. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Golly, let's talk. Okay. When in doubt, blame Skynet. Exactly right.
Yeah.
When in doubt, you blame Skynet. Totally agree. All right, let's get into the NFL draft here on the Monty program, presented by AARP. What are you excited about for the NFL draft tonight, Jake? Because I expect a lot of trades. Do you expect a lot of trades?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely going to be some action, no doubt. I mean, the first one's obviously going to be the Cardinals. I think that there's a lot of opportunity for the Cardinals in this draft. I think the Cardinals, like I said yesterday, the Cardinals are an organization that has messed up the draft year after year, seemingly can't figure it out, quarterbacks in the wrong years, this guy, that guy. So, them sitting at number 3, if you're looking at mock drafts, a lot of people, are having them take our David Bailey. A lot of people are looking at Jeremiah Love, but I could also see them trading out, and it wouldn't surprise me if they traded out. But my opinion on what they should do, I would think that I wouldn't take Jeremiah, not because he sucks or anything like that, but because I just don't think
he didn't go to TCU. You don't
he
believe we should take because he didn't go to
TCU. He didn't go to TCU, but he also didn't go to Okie Light. So he hasn't had a proper college experience as a running back. And, I would say that they should, if I'm them, I'm taking David Bailey with that pick. I mean, I just think that that would be the reliable pick. Or if you want to shock the world, take Ty there. right? Get your next quarterback and move on with your life. But I don't think that they're willing or smart enough to do that. So they'll probably trade, to answer your question.
I'm very interested to see it. I don't know. I don't have a great feeling on how many trades, but I have to believe there's going to be trades. My feeling is I think 3 trades minimum in the first round. I think 3 trades minimum. That'd be my guess. The Raiders are taking. I mean, you're taking Mendoza.
Yeah.
I think that's where the questions start coming in. Where do you go at number 2? And I think you have to lean David Bailey, don't you? I mean, I would be taking Vrabel-Russini. I don't think there's even a conversation. I think it's Vrabel-Russini, period. We can move on with our lives. That's who should be taken at number 2. David Bailey will likely be taken at number 2. Are you pretty convicted on that, Jake? Where do you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you know the Jets are taking either David Bailey or Vrabel-Russini, and I think that those two could swap. If I'm the Jets, I'm taking Vrabel-Russini. I think, you know, the questions that I have around David Bailey are just that he's a Texas Tech product. I think that there's, you know, when you're talking about the NFL and defensive guys, I think you really got to be careful about Big 12 product in terms of who the level of competition they faced and what kind of scheme they ran and things like that. If you're taking an Ohio State product under Ryan Day, you're going to have a hard time missing. You're going to have a hard time messing that up. And I think that we've seen it be, you know, pretty reliable. So I'd be taking Vrabel.
I think David Bailey appears on the surface. Clearly, he's the more experienced player. Clearly, he's the more NFL ready player. And I think if you look at his fit with the Jets, I mean, he gives you a murderer off the edge. I mean, the guy is going to get after the quarterback. If you bring in David Bailey and you tag him with Will McDonald, you're going to have an incredible edge combination. So that'd be my guess. But I'm a big believer that Vrabel-Russini will, in the long term, be the better player. As much as I think Caleb Downs will slide, I believe that Vrabel-Russini, his top end, I think somebody will jump up to get him at 3.
Yeah. And I think that's if he doesn't go to the Jets. Yeah. You know, I think that, because that's what I think this draft is. You're going to have to see number 1's on autopilot. Everyone knows that. Nobody's concerned about it. The chaos in the draft can start at number 2. And again, it's because it's the Jets and nobody trusts the Jets. And if they go Bailey instead of Reese, someone will trade up to get Reese, I think. And that's where, when you talk about teams trading out or what the Cardinals are going to do, that's where you have to have, you know, questions. Because if the Cardinals' phone starts ringing right after that pick, and a lot of people are calling to try to get Vrabel-Russini, the Cardinals don't have a choice but to humor those calls, dude. I mean, I wouldn't listen. If you trade out, if you trade down to, like, let's say 12 or 13, and you pick up that pick in a second round pick for, you know, the number 3 overall pick, I mean, that's good business if you're the Cardinals. But my problem is that I just think that the Cardinals, they need to make a decision one way or the other what kind of organization they're going to be. Are you going to be a defensive first organization, or are you going to try and play offense first? Because look at all the best teams in the league. They are defined by a philosophy as an organization. Hey, we're a defensive-minded organization. We're the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to have a hard-hitting defense. And then we need Lamar to make a play in the end to win. And he just hasn't made that play yet. But that's their formula. Look around the league and look at the 49ers. Hey, we're a defensive first organization, but Kyle Shanahan is our head coach, as a quarterback whisperer, and can save us a lot of money on the cap and get more out of the offense than maybe what we've got on paper. Like, the best organizations have that, and I don't feel like the Cardinals have that. So I just don't trust them to make a well thought out, educated decision when you've got Jerry Jones beating down your door trying to get Vrabel-Russini, or you've got somebody in that 10 to 15 range trying to get that guy. Sometimes I just have trust issues with them.
I think I have trust issues with a lot of these teams. That's why they're at the top of the draft, if we're being honest. Right.
Well, that's a fair take.
Right. I mean, if we're gonna pick, I think Fernando Mendoza 1, David Bailey seems to make the most sense at 2. Trade at number 3. Somebody will trade up there. My guess it's the Giants or the Saints to get Vrabel-Russini.
Bucks are also interested in edge linebacker. They're sitting at 15. You know, like, yeah. I don't know. There's options, dude. You know, the Vikings maybe wanting to trade up. Most people have them taking Thieneman from Oregon, but it's how bad you want it. That's what it comes down to, man. How bad do you want these guys?
Stud, dude.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think if the Jets take David Bailey at 2, I think it has a ripple effect because if they take Vrabel-Russini, I don't think the Cardinals make a trade because that's where it changes. I mean, if the Jets take Bailey at 2,
people aren't trading up to get Bailey.
I would agree. The biggest effect is the early run on pass rushers, I think. I mean, if you look at the Cardinals at 3, that's the biggest early trade. I think the I just don't trust the Jets to make the right decision here. Right? I mean,
like, look at the Chiefs at 9. Like, not everyone. There's been some vacillating, but you've got multiple guys at ESPN in their mock draft saying that the Chiefs at 9 are looking at Ruben Bain. So the Chiefs are an organization where I'm like, okay, they are smart, they are crafty, they understand how to play the game in the draft, and they also understand how to play the game in free agency to try to develop guys. So,
I would agree.
So I don't know if the thought out of, Kansas City is, hey, stay at 9, don't trade up, don't spend draft assets to move up because we're already at 9.
Listen, if the Jets take Bailey and you look at the rest of this board, the top 10, that run on edges will push at least one of those non-quarterbacks down the board. Right. So the Chiefs can end up with a much better player than they expected if David Bailey stays at 2 and the Jets take him there.
That's what I'm saying. I can't.
Right.
I don't trust the Jets. I'm completely with you on that, but I just can't see them taking David Bailey at 2. I like David Bailey, but
you don't think they will.
I just he again, it's not to hate on him. He's a hell of a player, dude. But when you're sitting at 2 in the draft, man, 1, 2, or 3 in the draft, you got to have just and I agree he's the most NFL ready guy, but there's a lot of bust concern with David Bailey that people have concerns. I've seen it around the conversation this week that yes, he's the most NFL ready now guy, but people are concerned about his longevity and his top end ability long term. And I don't know.
I'm more worried about his mentals. He has said and done some things that I don't love. So I'm more worried about his mentals than I am anything else.
So my point though is
he's going to be a good player.
Let's say they feel that way. Let's say that the Jets feel the same way you do about David Bailey. Hell of a player. It's going to be a good player. But do we, it's like, hey, hell of a player, good player. But if that's how you feel about David Bailey, you have the but.
You're probably taking
Vrabel-Russini. You got to go Vrabel-Russini at 2. And
what I think the other team you have to talk about is the Washington Commanders because if Bailey goes 2, don't the Commanders have a better shot at a top wide receiver or O-lineman at that point? I mean, because you're going to see a run. You're going to see a run of defensive ends go. If Bailey stays there, I think you're going to see trades for Vrabel-Russini. That's going to put the Commanders in a spot where they can get that premium wide receiver or offensive lineman that they've been searching for.
Well,
because
listen,
I still think you're going to have ability to get an edge later in the draft.
yeah, I mean, if Arvell goes 3, whether it's the Cardinals or someone trades up to get him, if he's selected 3rd in the NFL draft, the Titans most certainly are taking Jeremiah Love at that point at 4. The Giants are I would be shocked if they went any other direction besides Jordan Tyson because of their situation. I'm not a Jordan Tyson guy. I think he's an injury guy. He's going to make most of his money sitting on the bench for you, but they really like him allegedly. So
Allegedly.
I think Tyson goes at 5. And then I think 6 is really another candidate for trading. I think that the Browns, you want to talk about not trusting an organization, dude? I agree that Muigo is a no doubt about it, knock it down kind of player. No question about it. But you're talking about an organization in the Browns who are giving Deshaun Watson more looks, and it looks like he's going to be the guy moving forward. And you're talking about an organization that is just a powder keg. You have no idea what they're going to do. So if I'm a team that really values O-line in this draft, I would be beating down their door to trade that pick because I think they would. I think that if you had a good offer, dude, they would move. So, and yeah.
They're not taking quarterback again, are they?
They're not going to take quarterback. There's just no reason for them. You've got there were rumors. Yahoo had a report on yesterday that Dylan Gabriel is back in the mix to compete for that job now, which is not going to happen. But just the idea that that's being reported in your quarterback room that kind of speaks to what I'm saying, is that there's just so much chaos in that organization that, yeah, sure, is taking offensive line and improving that area always good for your football team? Yes. But you can't tell me that they're not taking calls and looking at how they can max this draft out for themselves.
Yeah, I don't buy that at all. I think with Deshaun Watson, there's a reason they're putting out so much tape of Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
I think my guess is the Cleveland Browns would love Deshaun Watson to be their starting quarterback. But I don't know that happens. I have no idea. You can't tell me he can still play in this league. I don't buy that. I really don't buy that. And if you predict the picks right up to Cleveland, I don't even want to say it out loud, but I think there's more than a puncher's chance that they could take a quarterback, right? I mean, would you really be surprised?
That's
so
terrible.
If it goes Mendoza 1, David Bailey 2, let's say no trades, take cards out of it.
Okay.
Or take trades out of it. Cardinals would be Jeremiah Love. Titans would be Sonny Styles, I would guess. And then you get into the Giants. The Giants have so many.
Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate.
How do you pay if Jeremiah Love's there? How do you pass on Jeremiah Love?
Because you've already got a guy.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I don't disagree. He's better than Cam, but you already got a guy.
Miles better. Commanders could easily go defense. Dan Quinn's their head coach.
But what about the Browns?
I mean, you have to. I think Spencer Fano's the right pick. I think that'd put the Commanders at probably wide receiver or defensive end. So Ruben Bain could get off the board right there.
Well, Arvell would still be available at that point as well.
No, I would put Arvell Reese with the Cardinals.
Okay.
If there are no trades, the Cardinals aren't passing on Arvell Reese, are they?
Well, you had them taking Jeremiah.
I would have it be Fernando Mendoza, David Bailey. The Cardinals. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Love at 3 to the Cardinals, which I think would be a home run. The Titans would certainly have to take Arvell Reese. That would push Sonny Styles to the Giants.
See, I don't think they'd take him. I really don't think they would take him because I think the Giants would take offense. I think that the Giants are on wide receiver. I'm telling you.
Dude, that would be really tough. The Giants have 2 picks in the top 10. You have to remember, because don't they have the Cincinnati pick now? So
they do.
their biggest need, I think their biggest need is defense. And if you're sitting there and Styles or Arvell are available, you're taking that.
But look at this. Look at this. So let's say that you're sitting there and Styles or Arvell are still available, and you're at
Right.
5.
Mendoza, Bailey, Jeremiah Love.
Right. And you're sitting there.
Titans take Sonny Styles.
Okay, so Arvell is the one that's still available.
So let's say that the Titans take one of those two. The Giants, I think, take the other. I just don't think you're going offense with the defense being so shitty last year.
Yeah, well, you also have a young franchise quarterback that needs people to throw to.
And you just traded one of your best defensive linemen. And you have another pick coming at 10.
I'm not saying you're wrong that their need is defense. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm talking about what they will do, not what they need. Because I think they will take defense because of the trade, and they will take offense at 10. Maybe
it makes all the sense in the world. It makes all the sense in the world. So I could see like at 10, I think Carnell Tate will be there, because if you project the rest, the Browns are going to take, I would have the Browns take offensive lines. So Spencer Fano. I think the Commanders would take Jordan Tyson or Ruben Bain. But Bain feels like a really natural fit with the Saints at 8. And I think at 9, again, if there's a ripple effect, I think at 9, I also think the Chiefs need an offensive lineman, because Mr. Buddy, who lines up in an offside position, is cut now. So that could be Muinoa. And then I think you're taking wide receiver at 10 with the Giants. That makes a lot of sense to me. And with Mendoza and Bailey being 1-2, I think Arvell Reese or Jeremiah Love to the Cardinals makes a lot of sense. And then the question is 4 through 10 gets crazy, but I feel pretty good about where they are. The Browns will pick Harry Styles. True, they need somebody to sing the anthem, bro. Washington might also want Styles. Could be. Yeah, I don't think so. I think you take defense. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I think you take defense first in this draft. I think you take defense first.
I think if you want linebacker edge, you got to take that position first if you're sitting at 5. But again, because I agree, they'll take one defensive player and one offensive player. I completely agree with that. That's what they should do. But if the Giants front office is sitting there saying that they want Caleb Downs, a safety, to add to the defense, if that's their take,
I'm telling you, Caleb Downs is out of the top 10.
Well, no, but that's my point. If you look at a lot of mock drafts, because I agree, there's a chance it's going to fall in the top 10. I'm not saying you're wrong, but what I'm saying is that
I'm never wrong.
I know you're so certain they're going to take defense at 5. I'm telling you, there's a chance that if they're not prioritizing linebacker edge, they're going offensive 5. If they want linebacker or edge, they'll take somebody like that at 5. And because the beauty of it is if you go defense at 5 and you get whoever that looks like, whoever's available to you, Styles or whoever it might be, then at 10, you're going to have the option of Caleb Downs. He'll be there at 10 for sure. Or ideally, if you can catch some luck and the Saints don't take Carnell Tate will also be available at 10.
Yeah, so, I think my feeling is you go defense, and then at 10, you could pick whoever you think is your best wide receiver.
And hey, if you don't take if you go defense at 5, Jordan Tyson's probably still there at 10 as well.
Tate, Lemon, Sadiq. I think Caden Proctor's a name that could go much earlier than people think. Not for the Giants at 10, but we'll see.
So that's what I'm saying with the draft. There's so much of this that look at the teams we're talking about here, man. Like we're talking about like the Raiders have done a good job here. I really like what they did here with with Kirk Cousins, Fernando. I think those two guys are basically the same guy. One's 20 years younger. It's a really smart play. I have no problem with what they're doing. The Jets are forever.
Both God guys. Both
Both
are
God
going,
guys.
Both are going to heaven.
Both are turning water into wine. We get it, dude. But I think that the Jets are a dumpster fire. The Cardinals are a dumpster fire. The Titans are a dumpster fire. The Giants seem to have turned it around a little bit and are making progress. I think, don't forget, John Harbaugh is there now. So you've got a better head coach. You should be a better team. So again, I just think that the make sure you're on the couch in front of the TV, or if you're a obsessive golfer, you're on the range with your AirPods in and the draft on, and you've got the TV on when number 3 happens. Because if number 3 gets traded, the next hour of the draft is going to be absolute chaos. Just chaos, dude.
I would agree. Giants will play their draft board with the top 2 picks, but do you really think scumbag brother is going to want the front office to go receiver over defense?
Yeah, that's a fair point, dude. It is John Harbaugh. So, again, I often wonder. Yeah. And look at the Super Bowl teams for the Giants, right? Dominant, dynamic defenses, right? The Strahan-led defenses were so tough to deal with. Very good defenses. So, I'm not disagreeing that defense is what they should do at 5. My only disagreement is that I don't trust the Giants to identify that that's what they should do. I trust the Giants to get cute and make trades and do things that they shouldn't do, which is why they are where they are.
They will go defense. They will go defense first. And if they don't, I will defecate on them.
And I hope they go edge. I really do. I hope that they go edge. I hope that they go edge, not linebacker, if you're going defense at 5. Get a guy who can go out and wreck a game for you.
You've always had that. Strahan, LT, Carl Banks.
That's been a staple of your here. Let me roll out the nomenclature. That's been a staple of this Tiffany NFL organization. So might want to get back to that.
Yeah. I would agree with that. There is absolutely no question in my mind that if the Jets draft Bailey, he will be a bust for them. So they will draft him. The Chiefs need to draft better offensive line.
But see, look at the Chiefs, dude. Look at the Chiefs. What have they done with Justin Fields, bro? I love the play out of them, dude.
Really good signing.
Get a guy who is as similar to Patty as possible, right? In terms of athleticism, how he can play 100%. The game. Get a guy who's young. You don't have to pay him a ton of money. You can develop the hell out of him with Andy Reid and company, and let's go out and see what he can do. They're saying that Pat will be ready for week 1 and everything will be fine. But if Patrick Mahomes has any type of issues or setbacks, I actually really like the Justin Fields thing because it puts the quarterback room to bed. And this is what I've talked about for many NFL teams. The good NFL teams don't have question marks in the quarterback room. They can shift their eye away from that position and onto other areas of the team and improve those areas. So the Chiefs need wide receiver help and they need cornerback help. The Spags can do the rest through the scheme on the defense. But if you don't have corners and you don't have wide receivers, you're going to have a tough time. You have a tough time.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Panthers need tight end and an edge rusher on defense. The Panthers.
Division is ass, dude.
It is. I have a bad feeling that the Browns will do something stupid like trade the 6th overall pick when Carnell Tate is available because it's the Browns. That could very well be.
Couldn't agree more, dude.
Could very well be. I feel my Giants are going defense at 5 and wide receiver O-line at 10, depending on how the draft unravels. Totally agree. Pimp's going to pimp. David Bailey. Okay.
Yeah, that's his name. What's up?
Don't wear it out, right? Bailey and Rodriguez were one of the very few bright spots that Tech had in their college football playoff game.
Yeah, here's the problem for Rodriguez. Rodriguez wasn't Rodriguez until Bailey and company, were doing what they do. And a lot of people have exposed that and are concerned about that for Buddy.
for Buddy. I don't disagree with that. We'll see. We'll see what they do. Panthers might be able to get Sadiq Falk-Parker.
Yeah,
The
Sadiq
Panthers
is going to be a
19?
problem, dude.
Are the Panthers 19, I think? Panthers are 19. You have to go defense, right? I mean, you signed Jalen Phillips.
I also think that the Cowboys are a problem in this first round, dude. 2 picks in the first round for the Cowboys, and you think they're not going to trade up? They're definitely trading up, dude.
Well, I think at 12 they'll get Caleb Downs. He feels like the right pick there. I just don't know that. Are you drafting a safety in the top 10? In this draft?
I would take him at 10 if I was the Giants. Yeah, I would. Because I think you need leadership on that defense, and you haven't had it. So
yeah, I think Caleb Downs is one of the best players in the draft, but as a safety, I just think it puts a ceiling on how high he can go. And I ask that because I think Carolina could do a lot worse than Dylan Thieneman.
Agreed.
You know, with Jalen Phillips signing there.
Yeah, Thieneman is absolutely a budget by Caleb Downs. There's no question about it. He is a hell of a player.
Yeah. I would mind Rodriguez as a Bear in the second round. I wouldn't hate that either. The question I have is who is likely to trade with Arizona for the third pick? I think the Giants could be there. I think the Saints certainly could be there. A lot of people want to tell you that Kansas City could be there.
I think Jera's looking for an opportunity. I don't know if it's 3, but I think he's looking for an opportunity with that 12th pick. Now, I can't guarantee that Jera will be around for the draft tonight after that tremendous fall he took off the stage.
Okay, we should probably talk about that. He didn't fall off the stage, first of all. Let's be accurate. Jerry did not fall off the stage. He tripped on a skeeter. He got very excited about, and I don't understand what he was doing there, but Bill Clinton walked into the presser and Jera almost died.
Negotiating the draft. All right. There you go. Go ahead. I've always wanted to be. Got him. Good. That's good balance right there. My draft, he moved up in the draft today. His draft rate got better.
Can't say Buddy doesn't know how to make an entrance. Like he almost died right there.
He did not almost die, dude. Come on.
Bro,
come on.
And you guys say I'm old, or Jeremiah says I'm old with the AARP pick. If Jera falls off that stage, Buddy is dead. Right? And Bill Clinton's hanging on by like an aorta.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
I think he did.
Well,
look at Bill Clinton here. Yeah, look at Bill Clinton here.
I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
Never.
First of all, cold-blooded killer delivering that statement.
Ever. Well, and then it turned out that he said a blowjob wasn't sexual relation.
Oh.
He didn't say a blowy. I mean, that's a
he would have been better. Dude would have been better saying that's private than commenting on the actual, allegations.
These are private matters that I have to have serious conversations with people in my life about, and I'd appreciate you.
By the way, I don't even want to know what the comment section has to say about Jerry yet. But by the way, is it wrong of people to be saying that the Cowboys would have been better off? Is that wrong?
Negotiating the draft. All right. There you go. Go ahead. I've always wanted to be. Got him. Good. That's good balance right there. My draft, he moved up in the draft today. His draft rate got better.
And then they're awkward touching.
Oh, Jerry, you moved it up in the draft, dude. Nice job. That was your little combine.
After this bro's awkward touching.
I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Blowy. It was, you know, like you guys, you said sex.
That was a lie.
That's not sex, dude. Come on. What? We were communicating. What's the big deal?
Yeah, you were communa something.
Yeah. I mean, come on, bro.
He just looks so old.
Because he is.
Dude, being president takes it off you. Jerry thought he saw a quarter on the floor. A quarter? I think it was Steven that tried to trip Jerry and take the old man out so he could take over. Could be. Could be. He used the Vrabel quote, "It depends on what your definition of what is."
I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never.
Never.
I've never taken steroids.
Yeah, it's a lie.
By saying thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Never.
Thank you.
Never.
Thank you.
Never.
Thank you. I mean, like, what are we doing, Vrabes?
What we did.
Did he smoke the cigar after it went into the humidor, bro? Look, you have to admit,
Bro.
you have to admit, it's legendary for Clinton to be like, dude, no, I didn't have sex with her. Sir, she hummed you in the Oval Office. Yeah, but that's not sex. That's just
Caramel
we're just chilling.
macchiato.
I was there. She was there. She was bored. I was bored. It's a little
What's the big deal?
Big deal.
deal?
Get
What?
the dry cleaned. What are we doing?
Come on, dude.
Blowy.
I'm going to say this again.
Yeah, it was, we never had sex. It was just.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Blowy's not sex. Come on.
This is fucking America.
Now, Vrabel and Big Nose Kate, that's sex.
Yeah. You know.
Ms. Lewinsky? No. Can you imagine? Honey, did you have sex with her?
Smiles
No.
and glory holes.
No. No. I would never have sex with another woman. She says she pleasured you.
I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
you know.
I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
You know, did they check the box on the search warrant? Because if they didn't, it wasn't. did it ever really happen?
Yeah. I mean, if the box wasn't checked, it never happened. Video doesn't matter. I mean, come on, dude.
You didn't say. Well, no.
Never.
Like, come on, bro.
I'm going to say this again.
How does the Bill and Hillary conversation happen? Did you have sex with her? No. What kind of man do you think I am?
I would never. Dude, hey, Joel Osteen, have you ever taken a salary? What? No, I would never. Dude, all the yachts and the cars, that's not church money, Monty. That's the book deal, Monty. Come on.
I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
Never.
Never. Sex? No. Me?
Listen, she was just providing a service to the country.
Honey, she serves at the pleasure of the president. I'm pretty sure Mrs. Lewinsky broke the law by smoking a Cuban. I've heard that. Hey, Caruso, where's your weed? What? Me? You know.
For instance,
If she was in the military, she would be the morale officer.
Right.
Yeah, that's a clown question, bro.
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. What kind of question is that, dude?
You know,
come on.
Bill Clinton almost seems quaint compared to what he's dealing with now, dude.
Boom. Out of here. You're filling in for somebody.
Yeah, she was just serving her country.
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. What's the big deal?
The most famous DNA evidence in history. Yeah, can I just ask, if you're a serial philanderer, allegedly, how do you leave it on the dress?
Never.
How do you... Are you kidding me? Like, and what made her save the dress? Oh, get rich quick scheme.
You got to get stroked.
Come on. You know, Monica's blue dress. Good times, Bill. Does he think about Monica every time he sees a blue dress?
A lot.
And just a small smile comes to his face?
Yeah.
Right? Come on.
But Shakira falling all over himself trying to get over to Buddy is an all-timer, dude.
Bro, I feel old thinking about how young Bill Clinton was when he got elected and just how tormented he was after he left. Like, it's incredible. It's incredible how tormented. Do you know how many years being president puts on? Like, it takes off years of your life.
No question.
I mean, it's incredible.
That's why they call it serving your country, bro. You're making a sacrifice.
I don't even disagree with that. So, you know, real quick, because I don't want to get too far away from this as well. Do you think the Chicago Bears are leaving Chicago? Because yesterday was actually a good day for the beloved. We moved, the legislature moved a bill to the state Senate to approve the funding and structure of the Bears building a stadium on the manure pile. Manure. At Arlington Park in Arlington Heights.
It's like an act of Congress.
Now, we are a long way from this being done. A long way. Do you think the Bears stay in Illinois?
Yeah, I think they'll go to Arlington for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, well, just because I think that, yeah, it's a long way from being done, but you don't have that kind of, it doesn't get moved along if there's not enough people in favor of it. You know what I mean? And I think that I don't believe that anybody wants the Bears to leave the state or leave Chicago, or I don't think anybody wants that, but I also think that they're going to do everything they can possibly do to either profit from it or help somebody else profit from it, from them moving sites and all of that. So, you know, you can't have the NFL leave your market. That's not good for anybody. When an NFL team moves and leaves a major city like that, that's not good for any. It's like what was it yesterday? What was it? The Royals saying that instead of leaving the state, they're going to go downtown. It's the same thing, dude. Nobody wants professional sports teams to leave where they've been to go to a different state. But through that process, 1,000,001 people are going to try and profit. So you get the Indiana narrative. And so I don't know, man. If I had my way, they wouldn't be moving. You would just be rebuilding the stadium, revamping it, rebuilding it, whatever. You'd still be on the lake. That's where you should be. It's just not even in question. But I think they wind up in Arlington Heights.
I would guess so. It's going to be a $5 billion dome stadium in Arlington Heights, and it is a massive piece of real estate. It is huge.
I don't like the dome thing, by the way. It should be open air.
I would agree with that. I think it should be open air, but it won't be. It doesn't matter. But it does bring things like the Super Bowl to Chicago. It does obviously make the Bears exponentially more money. I'm just curious how much public money is going to have to go into getting that done.
Yeah, probably halvesies.
Now that this is going to the full legislature from the Revenue Committee, it's a big step forward. It's a big step forward. So Illinois won't let the Bears leave like Starbucks left Seattle. It's just stupidity if they do. Well, Starbucks left Seattle yet. You know, I think there's a long way to go. Look at Barrett, dude, aged 25 years in 2 terms. Yes, he did.
He looks pretty good now, though. I think he's recovered well.
Dude smokes like a chimney.
The Rock?
You know, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Domes have better chance for a Super Bowl in cold area climates. Yes, they do. See Minnesota. I am far from confident, as all it takes is one filibuster at the state level. Illinois politics is far from clean. Let the White Sox move to Indiana. Fuck them.
Yeah, I think that I don't disagree with you, Brandon. At the same time, I think that it wouldn't move off of committee if those committee members hadn't talked to enough people in the, in the rest of the state legislature to say, hey, this is what we're looking at. Is this, this is what we think we should do. Is this, would you be in favor of this, that type of deal? So that's why I have a little bit of confidence in it, because I feel like you wouldn't be moving this from committee to the bigger portion unless you had some semblance of support.
I think it happens. It's just going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight. You cannot let the Bears leave. You can't. A historic franchise like the Bears deserves a world-class stadium. Yeah, you deserve what you've earned. And they haven't won a lot. Bears flexing for a new crib in Chicago. They should never leave the city of Chicago. Now they're gonna. And the Soldier Field renovation was a disaster. The Bears belong in the city of Chicago. Like, who are we even kidding? The Bears belong in the city of Chicago.
Yeah.
And I just don't.
Again, nothing sacred, dude.
Yeah.
Nothing sacred anymore.
Yeah, I'm so frustrated as a Bears fan, as a Chicago sports fan. The Cubs are finally raking. Funny what happens. The Cubs win 9 in a row, I think, or whatever, and we've sold a ton of Cubs tickets now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
want to see a winner, dude.
Cubs are winning.
Nobody wants to see an ass team.
No, Bregman sucks. Turns out he doesn't.
Didn't say he sucks. Just said he's not going to win you the World Series, dude.
Yes, you did. You're a scumbag, Jake.
You know why they signed Bregman? More butts in the seat.
Well, because he can hit. Better than that loser Kyle Schwarber who can't hit at all.
Mm-hmm.
Who still should be a Chicago Cub, and he's my goddamn left fielder. But yeah, Cubs are 10-5 at home. Cubs are winning. Hawks are terrible, not in the Stanley Cup playoffs, which is disappointing. The Bears, I will say this about the Bears, though. It's nice that we're not having to pick like a foundational franchise player. We're like saving our franchise, and it's nice those days are behind us, right? Like you look at the Raiders, they're taking Fernando Mendoza. The Jets seem to be still jetting. Bears are not. Right? It seems like there's going to be a bunch of teams trying to trade up, and the Mets can't win games, although didn't they actually win a game? They did win last night. At least I'm not a New York sports fan.
Yeah.
So, I feel better.
Good.
I feel
progress.
But they still have a finger in without much lube on it.
Bro.
What?
Dude.
What?
Chill.
What do you mean? Move the White Sox to Charlotte. It's a Cubs town. No, move the White Sox to Salt Lake City. Don't forget it's a baseball town now.
What a joke.
Lambeau is bigger than Soldier Field by a lot. You couldn't even expand Soldier Field to be a mid-level stadium. No, it's not. It was a disaster. It was the wrong thing to do. If you want to see an arse team, just drive 45 miles up north from Provo.
Don't talk crap about my team.
Well, the Mammoth won a playoff game, so I don't know what you mean.
And the Jazz are going to get the number 1 pick now, so,
Did you guys see Victor Wembanyama bounce his face off the court?
Oh, yeah. Full bouncing his face instead of the ball off the court. Yeah, not ideal, dude.
There's a video of his chin hitting the floor first. He's going to miss significant time.
Yeah, he'll be out a week to 10 days, I think.
Oh. That just happened to come across my feed. Bears are set up to be able to get a decent O-line or edge. Need edge. That or I would love to see them get Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love takes this team to a Super Bowl if he's a Chicago Bear. The Bears. It's so weird not to be looking for the next savior of the Bears. Yes. I know. I don't know how I feel about it. Utah Jazz getting the first round pick. They'll get a first round pick, no doubt. Number 1 overall. We'll see. Delaric, loving NHL playoffs. My Stars are up 2-1. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, the UF Mammoth, doing well.
They won a playoff game. I was talking about Westminster College. Okay, great.
Gotcha.
Okay. Thank you for Westminster College. Oh my God. I would love the Jazz to get the first pick, but that won't happen. We always get screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there he is, Big Daddy Magic. We called you Big Daddy. You had a Big Daddy Tragic reference yesterday because of Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah. Any comment on your boy bouncing his head off the floor?
Hey, baby boy, I hope Chicago keeps the Bears. I'm not really sure why I'm baby boy now. It would break your heart if they leave, and I don't want you to have a broken heart until I see you in Provo. What are you going to do when Notre Dame boat races BYU? I'll buy you a red Buffalo Bills. Shut up. Single biggest mistake I've ever made on the show, buying Big Daddy Magic that Buffalo Bills sweatshirt. Should never have done it.
Facts.
Should never have done it. Just not good. Go Canes. Let's sweep the Sens. Oh, that overtime the other night. Oh, the fix is in for the Jazz. We will get top 3. Then the Kings take Peterson, and they will get whoever, Boozer or AJ. How about AJ Dibansa's announcement today? Isn't it today?
Is it?
AJ Dibansa.
It's actually AJ Devanza, just so you know.
Okay, he drives a van. That's fine.
All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure AJ Dibansa is going to make his announcement today.
Okay.
So he has some big to do. 11:45 Eastern. So in about an hour. Live on IG at noon. So live.
What kind of drama is going to happen live? Anytime an athlete's name is attached to live on IG, there is high risk that something will happen.
Yeah. If you show Victor hitting the floor, you don't have tons of problems, baby boy.
How much have you ingested this morning, bro?
You need to take your meds. Is AJ declaring for the NFL draft? I believe he is. They're going to take him instead of Vrabel-Russini.
Come on, let's go, Schlep Rock.
He's got to be declaring for the NBA draft, right?
Well, his mom wanted him to go back to BYU, so.
Some dude yesterday was trolling BYU fans saying that he's going to go to UMass. And BYU fans panicked. What? The only way the Jazz get the first pick is if AJ says he's going back to college. That would be incredible. Can you imagine? Fuck. AJ Divanza announces that Tony Danza advised Tony to go back to college. So AJ Dibanza goes back to college, and then the Jazz get the number 1 overall pick. They take Darren Peterson, who never plays a game in the NBA.
Oh.
That would be terrible. Because AJ Dibanza is the number 1 pick. There's no question. There is no question.
Agreed, but we've seen stranger things.
And Donut says, have a great weekend, Monty team. You too. Mama says the alligators are so mean because they all have those teeth and no toothbrush. No, you're wrong, Colonel Sanders.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Mike, it hasn't been your best week, has it?
Yeah, dude, the Shador comparison definitely caught strays in the chat. section of the channel yesterday, dude. There were a lot of people talking about it. There was one that was like, he said something to the effect of, bro, Shador is probably not the guy you should be using for your comparison. Oh man, dude. That was it's just, yeah, we all have that week, dude.
I mean, what kind of week are you having when you're quoting? Because I'm pretty sure this is from a movie. Not a famous movie. Jake, do you know what movie this is from?
Waterboy.
Oh, you do know? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Proud of you, kid.
Hey, look here, man.
Have you seen The Godfather yet?
Nope.
Are we going to watch it this weekend in Portland?
Nope.
Oh, that's right. You're not allowed to stay overnight in Portland. Jake has to go back home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll be staying the night in Portland and going to the Nike factory store alone. You going to go to the Nike store with us or what?
I have no idea. We haven't even talked about it.
Are you a hater?
No.
Okay.
Just got things to take care of.
Okay. We did not get to Kalen DeBoer's contract today. $12.5 million a year for Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah, but schools are broke. Kids are getting paid too much.
Did you see Tommy Ha is coming back to Florida? I mean, wow. I don't know how you guys would have survived.
Mm-hmm.
I did see that. Mike Smith's quote is from The Waterboy. That's a Waterboy reference. Waterboy. Is Waterboy one of those movies? Like a cult classic?
I would say so, yeah.
I believe it is. As are the Advocates at theadvocates.com, 24/7, 365. Enjoy the draft tonight. We'll have a full breakdown of it for you. Cardinals trade out. My prediction, Cardinals trade out. If they don't, they draft Jeremiah Love. Irish forever. Say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.